Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another watch-along live stream on the Dibbly-Dobbly podcast. And it's all happening in this first session of play in Delhi at the Fisher Kotla. Australia 6 for 95, I should say, not 9 down, but they could be 9 down very shortly. It's all happening again. It's Groundhog Day all over again for Australia. Just like what happened in Nagpur, wickets are falling left, right, and centre. And they lead by, I should change the score there. They don't trail by 96. They lead by 96. And it is all going wrong for Australia at the moment. India well in control of this match. Even though 96 runs is Australia's advantage at the moment with the lead. Unfortunately, Australia in a spot of bother. 6 for 95. Carey and Cummins at the crease. Yet to get off the mark. They need some runs quickly as we speak. He's clean bowled, and that is the end of the Australian skipper. He is gone, and that is the end of Pat Cummins. Australia 7 down for 95. The end is nigh, and this test match is slipping away from Australia's grasp, and you would think the series as well. It hasn't been a good day for Australia. Once one wicket fell, it was going to be a domino effect, and that is the case. And that is what happened in this test match here. As we have a look at this delivery again from Jadeja. One that went straight on. Cummins went for the big slog, and he got clean bowled. And Jadeja picks up another one. India well on top in this match. It is slipping away, and it could be all over in this session. The test match could be finished in this session. We've got 2 sessions to go after this first session of the day. But Cummins has gone. The wickets have fallen like 9 pins. And it is all going wrong for Australia. 7 for 95. The end is nigh. They lead by 96. Jadeja's got 2 wickets in a row. He is on a hat-trick. And a hat-trick for Jadeja is possible. You can't rule that out. He's on a hat-trick. He's got an attempt for a hat-trick. And, this test match has turned quickly. That's what it does in India. Usually 1 wicket brings 2, and 2 brings 3, and 3 brings 4. Australia have lost 6 wickets for 34 runs in this first session of play. 12 overs have just about been bowled. Jadeja on a hat-trick. He's got 2 wickets in a row. Lyon will face the music. Can he defend and get out of this hat-trick ball? We shall see what will happen in this test match. Lyon on strike. Jadeja in, he bowls, and Lyon does well to defend. Onto the offside for a dot ball. And the wickets have tumbled like 9 pins today. And this was bound to happen with Australia with the pressure. If India got 1 wicket, then just like what happened in the first test at Nagpur, wickets have fallen at regular intervals. And that is what has happened today. Are we surprised? Are we shocked by what we are seeing? No, we are not. And Australia just out of their depth in these conditions, and India far too strong in these conditions, and they are the superior team in these conditions, and Australia just out of their depth. And it is a very difficult situation now for Australia as Lyon defends onto the offside again from Jadeja. And there is no run. Thanks for joining us, everyone. If you are watching or listening, the end is nigh for Australia. It is not too far away from this test match ending and India claiming a very commanding 2-0 series lead. And for Australia, the only chance of trying to level the series is to draw the series. And for Australia, they've got a lot of work to do after this test match. It's not going to be an interesting discussion among the team after this test match. Sort of what we saw in the first test at Nagpur has happened again in this second innings. So the end is nigh. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And for this end of this test match, you would think that it's definitely not going to go into day 4. It's definitely going to finish today at this rate. And the game has definitely moved on at a dramatic pace. As the old saying goes in Test cricket, day 3 is usually the moving day. And that's what's happened here. 7 for 95 for Australia at the end of the 24th over. Just update the score there. And it has been carnage from ball 1 of today. And wickets have fallen at irregular intervals and clumps. And that is what has happened. Ashwin, he's bowled really well. 3 for 45. He's going to be bowling Carey. He's yet to get off the mark. It's up to him now. What can he do, Carey? And first ball from Ashwin is a reverse sweep from Carey. No surprise. And he gets off the mark with a reverse sweep for a single. Gets it over to Nathan Lyon, who can play his shots as well. I think Australia now, nothing to lose. If they are going to lose this test match, they might as well go down swinging and try and get up past 100, maybe 150 if they can, or 120, 130, give themselves a chance. You never know. It could be carnage in this test match. If Australia do bowl and bowl well, you never know. This test match has come alive on day 3, as it usually does. In this series, we've seen some action every ball of this test match, and also in the first test as well, which is no surprise. 7 for 96, Australia. Steve Smith looking on. He was dismissed. LBW to Ashwin. He got him out in the first innings, got him out again. And he's watching the carnage from the dressing room, which is not a pleasant sight for Australia at the moment. Seeing the scoreboard at 7 for 96. Ashwin in. He traps Lyon on the pads. There was a half appeal for LBW. The umpire quickly turned that down and he said, "Not out, gentlemen. Let's move on to the next ball." That one turning back into the pads of Lyon. He got a bit of an inside edge on that. Ashwin in to Lyon, who plays the sweep. Down to the fine leg boundary for 4. Races away for 4. 100 lead up for Australia now. Lead by 101. And the total moves on to 100. For 7 down. Australia have been playing their shots in this innings, and that's been clear to see with the intent, positivity that they've done. I can understand that. Wanted to score quickly, making sure that we don't lose wickets in clumps. But unfortunately, it's backfired on Australia a bit, and that's what's happened today. Australia lead by 101 runs. They're 7 down, though. They've got 3 wickets in hand, and everything that has gone wrong for Australia again. Lyon again sweeps this ball outside off stump from Ashwin. Down to deep backward square leg for another single. He moves on to 5. Carey's on 1. And thanks everyone for joining, watching, listening. If you are doing that, that's good. But nonetheless, this test match has moved on at a dramatic pace. As Australia, this test match is slipping away. They had a good opportunity to really force the advantage in this match. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. Ashwin in again to Carey. This one traps him on the pad. Try to go for the sweep. Carey behind square on the leg side. There was an appeal by Ashwin, but Rohit Sharma says, better not review that. Let's keep a review just in case we need it. Let's have a look. This one just sliding down the leg side, you would think. Carey going for the sweep. Ashwin in to Carey, who plays the reverse sweep just wide of the slip fielder. Playing his shots, Alex Carey, and I think it's the right way to go about it now. If Australia are going to go down swinging, you might as well play your shots. Hello, John. Thanks for joining us. At least we'll get a result today, I think. It won't be Australia's result, I don't think, but you never know. But yet again, Australia just crumbling under the pressure. And if you're watching Cricket for Americans, they're streaming at the moment as well. Go over and watch Nick and Gabe and all the antics and all the fun. Or if you want to come over and listen to our thoughts on this game thus far, you might as well. We were meant to schedule the stream for the last session of the day, but I saw that wickets were falling at a quick rate. So I would have thought, well, this game is probably not going to finish into day 5. So we might as well go and stream the first session. But anyway, that's the way it goes. Obviously, ended the over. It's 7 for 101 for Australia. They lead by 102. You would think to challenge India in this second innings, they will need something 150 or more. If they can do that, then, game on. It's still anyone's game. This pitch is not going to get better. As we've seen, it's turning and difficulty for scoring. But Australia, in this test match, they had opportunities to win or take an advantage in this test match. And unfortunately, they haven't taken it with both hands. And that's the problem when you're playing test cricket in India. If you don't win key moments, you have a bad hour, you have a bad session, it can go wrong. And we've seen that. Domino effect of wickets. And the Australian batters, yet again, not really dealing with the pressure, not really being composed. The pressure just getting a little bit too much for the Australian batters. But this is what you expect from India at home. They're a strong side. They're a good team. Australia, unfortunately, in these conditions, are just not capable of doing well in these conditions, which are so foreign to them. As Alex Carey plays a sweep shot down to deep backward square leg for 1. He moves on to 2. Carey's plan of attack is obvious, and that's the sweep. He's going to play his shots, Carey. Look, as I mentioned, Australia got nothing to lose. If they can get it up to 150 or maybe 130, 140, that's something. Respectability. Go down swinging, as they say, but you have to say it was always India's series to win. It's no surprise. Let's be honest about that. Let's be upfront. Let's not beat around the bush. Australia are just not good in these conditions, and that's the bottom facts of it. But there's nothing we can do. We can't control it. We can't control the outcome. We can't dwell on it. We can't control how the game is going to pan out as fans. So that's the way it goes. It's painful to watch, but that's just the way it is. As Jadeja in again to Lyon, and Lyon defends on the front foot, and there is no run. John says, the problem is, I don't know who else we have who are better than the current team, apart from the injured. That's the thing, John. Injuries happen. Players get missed out. Australia can't use that as an excuse, of course. You've got to pick the players who are fit and able to perform at their best. Unfortunately for Australia, the bottom line is Australia are just not capable in these conditions to win. And Australia have won in India many times before. They've won 4 times. And, what made those teams be able to win in India was there were good players to spin. And unfortunately for Australia, in this current crop, barring Steve Smith, are comfortable against playing spin in these conditions. But it's so foreign. And it's not a surprise. All teams that go to India struggle. They always have these setbacks and collapses and whatever. And in this session, they've lost 6 wickets for 42 in 14 overs. It's not a surprise. It's just like what happened in Nagpur, 7 for 103 for Australia. That was the end of the over. Lead is 104, 26 overs. And thanks for joining us, everyone. And to see Australia suffer and to see them collapse the way they are, not a good sight, but that's just the way it goes, isn't it? Oh, well, at the end of the day, it's just a game of cricket. It's not the be-all, end-all if Australia don't win a test in India or win a series. That's just the way it goes. It's not the be-all, end-all. It's not the end of the world. But you would think that Australia would like to finish off the series strongly now after the second test. India have got the momentum and really playing some good cricket, and we have to acknowledge that, give credit to that. As Ashwin bowls a short delivery to Carey, who works it to mid-on for no run. Alex Carey, the experienced batter at the crease, at the helm. John, you say, can't understand why Smudge and Marnus have struggled so much. Yeah, it just comes down to the pressure, I think, John. I think them being the two most prominent batters in these conditions, I think as Alex Carey hits a nice boundary down to long on for 4, good shot from Carey, taking the attack from Ashwin. I think the pressure of being the most experienced batter in Steve Smith's case, and then Marnus being good as he is, I think it comes down to the pressure of that external pressure on themselves, knowing that we have to score majority of the runs if we've got a chance. Quick single being taken by Carey. There was nearly a run out, but they made their ground. I think it was Nathan Lyon who went to the strikers in. That was the danger in. Anyway, a single onto the total. So just finishing off your question there, John, I think it just came down to the pressure. I think the external pressure of them, needing to score majority of the runs to have a chance for Australia to win this series has just weighed on them too much. And we've seen that, but they can't do it all themselves. They need support, and they haven't had that support from the other batters. And it's just Australia struggling in these conditions and can't find a way to score runs and really push the advantage in a test match. As Nathan Lyon works this onto the offside, picks up a couple of runs to end the over. It's the end of the over, 7 for 110, or for those who read the score the other way, it's 110 for 7. 27 overs. Australia lead by 111 runs. Ooh, triple Nelson there. If you're a bit superstitious, triple Nelson. Cricket is a superstitious game for some, if you believe in those things. Anyway, what can Australia get up to? What can be the total? Well, I would think anything 130, 140. If they get over 150, that's great. I think that gives them a chance. They can put India under pressure with the ball. I think we're going to see a very dramatic finish to this test match. I think this test match is going to have a very... I think there's some turns and twists in this test match to come, I think. I think we're going to be in for an exciting finish. Either way, if the result goes India's way, then so be it. If it goes Australia's way, that's good for Australia, I suppose. He's bowled him, knocked him over. Carey went for the reverse sweep. It is knocked over his leg stump. He is gone. Australia have lost the 8 wicket. Jadeja has got another. And this game is quickly coming to a conclusion. Carey, I don't blame him. He had to play his shots. Australia had nothing to lose in this situation. He's been bowled by Jadeja. The death rattle, as we say. Don't have to look back as a batter. You know when you're bowled. He went for the reverse sweep. Typical Alex Carey shot on leg stump. Went straight on. Hit the top of leg stump. And India celebrated. Jadeja celebrating with a fist pump in the air. He can't believe what has just happened. He is excited. He is overjoyed with excitement of taking a wicket. Rohit Sharma gets a big fist pump as well. He's pumped. India are pumped. The crowd's pumped. The Australian supporters aren't. As you can tell from the tone of my voice, it's quite disappointing. But anyway, can't control what we see. Why worry about something that you can't control? Can't control it. So it's only a game at the end of the day. It's not be-all, end-all. It's only a game of cricket. And they've lost 7 for 49, Australia. The end is nigh. Dr. Jihan, thanks for joining us for our watch-along today. Jihan, you say, can Australia defend 150? Ball is not bouncing. I think if they get over 140, 150, Jihan, they're a chance. If India are going to play their shots, then wickets are going to happen. So Australia just need to get over to that 130, 140 mark, 150. 150 at the moment with Carey at the crease. Now he's gone now. That would have been, Australia would have gotten to that score, but obviously Carey got bowled and that sort of hinders that opportunity to get to a 150 score. But, if Australia can get 120, 130, they're a chance. It's not going to be easy. We've seen the ball turn. It's keeping low. So I think we're in for a very exciting finish, potentially. But we shall wait and see, Jihan. This game is not over yet. Yes, it's a dire situation for Australia. But this game is not over yet, as they say. Now then, there was a quick single taken. Jadeja's got 5 wickets, and he's got another fifer in this series. Now, there's a review for run-outs. Quick single was taken. I think Nathan Lyon and Todd Murphy are comfortable at this decision. It was a wide throw. Has he got the bat down in time, Lyon? Or Murphy? I think it was Lyon. Yeah, the bat's grounded there, so that's fine. The throw was wide there from, I believe that was Pujara there who fielded that ball. Yeah, there was. Bit of a wide throw to the keeper in Bharat. So that took time. In the end, it's going to be not out. As that has flashed on the screen. John says they all look better coming forward, even to defend. They play back, they look like amateurs. Well, that's the thing, really, John. It's just the mindset. It's just Australia in these conditions. We shouldn't be surprised by Australia's lack of ability to play in these conditions. It's always happened to Australian teams. It's always ended the same way, and probably nothing's gonna change. And Australia need to pick themselves up after this, and it's going to get tougher for them. It could be a 4-0 series defeat. Let's hope for Australia's sake it's not. They need to win one test match or draw one to book a place in the WTC final. But you would think it would be India and Australia in that final at the Oval in June. But Australia just really need to pick themselves up. I think we saw some encouraging signs. We saw some improvement in some areas, but Australia lacked doing the basics well in some departments. This is chipped up into the air and it falls safe off the fielder. Nathan Lyon just chipped that one straight up in the air, nearly got caught. In the end, he is safe as Jadeja bowls a short delivery. Lyon, who defends onto the offside. Pat Cummins not looking jovial. He's looking quite, well, he's not really showing it, but I think inside he'll be very disappointed. And I think most of the Australian team would be disappointed, and that's fair enough. Really haven't really performed well, Australia. They've really let this game slip. They were in a good position yesterday. That 8-wicket partnership between Patel and Ashwin over 100 really cost them. Australia really needed a big lead. They needed a lead of 50 plus to give them a head start. In the end, it was only a 1-run lead, which is not really much. They needed every help they can get. Unfortunately, that hasn't transpired and that hasn't happened. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. If you've bothered to come and join us, that's great. If not, well, that's your choice. It doesn't really concern me, but anyway, as Ashwin's into the attack. This is the 9th over now. He bowls Ashwin to Murphy, who defends nicely on the front foot. So if Australia can get a few runs, you never know. But the end is certainly nigh. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I do have an announcement to make. For those who are listening, I will announce something in just a moment. I think it's an important announcement, which I want everyone who has supported the podcast to know and to understand where I'm coming from and why I've decided to do what I am about to announce. And I haven't taken this decision lightly, but I have made my decision and I'm going to stick with it. As Murphy defends again from Ashwin, and there's no run. Australia not looking good. And Andrew McDonald not looking happy. He's quite disappointed. The Australian team kind of down. The mood in the camp's low, not really jovial. There's Ashwin in now to Murphy again, who defends nicely on the front foot again. Ashwin looking threatening again, as is Jadeja, and the Indian spinners in these conditions are quite a handful to play and to face as a batter. Ashwin in again to Murphy. This one defended again on the front foot. He defends it straight to the fielder at silly point. He was at forward of square. And there is no run. Marnus Labuschagne on the iPad. He's probably just watching something. Probably just watching how he got out, or probably looking at some data or some stats or something. Murphy again defends, but he works it onto the leg side. He picks up a single off Ashwin, and Lyon's on strike. Now Murphy moves on to 8 for 112. For Australia, the lead is over 100, but they've lost 751 in this session. Not even the end of this first session. And it's going to be tough for Australia. But you always got to have hope. There's got to be hope. There's got to be belief that you never know. If we get to a target that we feel like we can definitely cause some problems with India, then Australia would just have to believe that they can still win this game. But it's going to be tough. A slim chance. That's the end of it. It's 8 for 112. Slim chance. But you just still got to believe that you can do it and you can win this test match somehow. Still, it's going to be difficult for India. Any runs that Australia get in terms of their lead, eventually what will that number be? We won't know. But, for India, they'll be under pressure about chasing these runs. It's never easy trying to chase the winning runs and target to win a test match. You always feel that little bit of pressure. Now, on a pitch that's doing a bit, keeping low, turning, wickets are falling left, right, and centre, it is very difficult. Jadeja in again. Sorry about that. To Murphy. And this one defended, and there's no run. Well, it's been a very disappointing day for Australia. They would have came to the ground full of optimism, full of hope, and looking to challenge India in some way, but that hasn't been the case. Yet again, the horrors of Nagpur have come back to haunt us, Australia, I should say, in this test. 8 down for 113 now, as a single was taken by Murphy off Jadeja. Pat Cummins grabbing a drink of water. He's looking on a bit, willing Nathan Lyon and Todd Murphy to get some runs here. Lead is 114. That was another dot ball by Lyon, defended onto the offside. Andrew McDonald looking intense. Jadeja in again to Lyon, who works it onto the leg side. They fought about a quick single. In the end, they turned it down. There was nearly a run out, but Lyon made it home. A little bit of a risky run for Nathan Lyon, but he decided, well, we don't need a run out. Usually when there's a batting collapse of some sort, there's often a run out that happens, isn't it? That usually happens. I've been a part of a few batting collapses in my time playing cricket, and that usually happens, run outs. Jadeja into Lyon. He plays a big shot, looking for a slog onto the leg side, and he's clean bowled. His leg stump's knocked out of the ground. This game is going to end very quickly. Lyon is gone. Nothing really for him to do, really, than to play his shots, because, if you're not going to play his shots, you're pretty much going to be a walking wicket. Jadeja's got 6. Lyon is bowled by Jadeja. And he has got a bit of an inside edge on that one. And that is the end of Nathan Lyon's innings, the end of Australia's chances, you would think, in this test match. He is gone, Nathan Lyon. He is gone. And Jadeja looking quite happy. And as he should be. He's bowled really well. And Lyon has gone for 8. It is 9 for 113. Australia are pretty much at the end. Matt Kuhneman on debut. Got a wicket. Got the wicket of Virat Kohli, which was a little bit controversial yesterday. But he comes out at number 11 on debut. And he'll be hoping to get off the mark. And Australia have just lost 8 wickets for 52 runs in this session. It's been absolutely carnage. And to be honest, not expected. And at the end of the day, my simple message for everyone is, at the end of the day, it's only a game of cricket. It's only a game of cricket. We shouldn't get worked up and worried about something that we can't control. And that's my message to everyone, that we sort of lose that perspective sometimes. We can't control the game. We can't control what's happening. And we can't control what the outcome will be. So why worry about something that you can't control? And, There's no point worrying in something that you can't control. That's the end of the over. End of the 30th over. It is defended nicely by Cummins. He survives. It's 9 for 113. After 30 overs, Australia lead by 114 runs. So if they can get up to 120, that's something. And then if they bowl well and they get a few wickets, you never know. I think this game has got another twist and turn left in it. But you would think that Australia would probably go on to lose the match. But you never know. It's not over till it's over. Not over until the last run or last wicket is taken. And 9 for 113 after 30 overs. Murphy and Kuhnemann, number 10 and 11 at the crease for Australia, and you're not really going to rely much on them to get these runs. But anyway, Ashwin, he could finish it off in this over. He bowls to Murphy. This one traps him on the pads. There's an appeal for LBW, but it was going down the leg side. Don't bother reviewing that, India. Otherwise, you're going to waste a review. John says, we are going to need a lot of good fortune to bowl India out. Yes, they would, John. They would need a lot of good fortune, a lot of luck. And this one guided nicely by Murphy onto the offside, but it's a dot ball. And Nathan Lyon, that one got the inside edge onto it to the stumps. He chopped it on. Not a very good shot, but I don't blame Nathan Lyon for playing his shots. That's what he needed to do because, there's no other hope for Australia to score runs. All the batters are gone. Ashwin in to Murphy. This one bites, turns, maybe caught the outside edge, just falling safe on the offside. Let's have a look at the replay. And that one just hitting the back leg. So no damage done. Ashwin in. This one outside off stump to Murphy. He went for a drive, flashing outside off stump through the covers, but in the end, it was a dot ball. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And I do have an announcement to make, which I want everyone to hear. I'm just trying to get the right time to make that announcement because things are happening quickly. And they're happening quickly at a rapid rate. Ashwin again to Murphy. This one defended back down the pitch for no run. It's 8 for 52. 19 overs have been bowled now in this session. Australia have lost 8 for 52. It's not a good-looking scorecard for Australia, and they'll be quite disappointed by that. 9 for 113. 31 overs have been bowled. And the wickets have fallen at regular intervals, 23, 65, 85, 95, 95, 95, 95, 110 and 113. So that does paint a picture. If you want to paint a picture about Australia's batting today, have a look at the fall of wickets in the scores. It tells a million words and a million stories. It just hasn't been good enough from Australia, and they'll be disappointed. Jet Asia in again. Kuhnemann tries to play a reverse sweep, but he doesn't time it, and it's a dot ball. No, it is a wicket. Sorry, my mistake. It is a wicket. Australia all out for 113. Kuhnemann was bowled. I didn't see the stumps getting disturbed by the ball, but Kuhnemann's got to go. He's bowled the end of the innings. Australia all out for 113. India need 115 to win. And the end is nigh for the Australians in this test match. 115 to win for India. And this will be a perfect time to make my important announcement because wickets have been happening left, right, and centre. It's been hard to try and get a word in. So Australia need to try and bowl India out for 115 or under 115, which you think it's going to be unlikely. If Australia made 113 in this innings, you would probably think India should make 115 and get the runs in this test match. You would think not even close to the lunch break in this first session. So we've still got plenty of cricket to be played. It could be all over in this first session. Could be done and dusted. That's happened before in test matches. But Kuhnemann going for a duck. playing a reverse sweep, got bowled. Jadeja's got 7, I believe. Lost track of the score there. Let's have a look at this again. Yeah, just got a bit of glove, went back onto the stumps. And Jadeja picks up another wicket. He's had a great series, hasn't he? He's a very good player. Cummins gone. So India, we need to get these runs. And it could be a twist and a turn in this test match yet. But anyway, understandable if most people have switched off, and you would assume that India should take a 2-0 series lead in this 4-game series. Right, the innings break. India need 115 runs to win. That is the target. We'll get through the comments if people have put their comments in and answer some questions or anything you want answered. Be happy to answer that, but be happy to answer those. As always, India need 115 runs to win. The target for India is 115. They've still got 2 sessions today and this session to score the runs. They can take as much time as they want, but they will look to finish it off quickly. I believe the best way to go about things on this pitch is to not defend. Otherwise, you're going to get a wicket with your name on it. It's about being proactive, being aggressive. And that was Australia's game plan. It was always going to end badly if they were going to pursue this aggressive approach and a positive intent. And that's what's happened. And wickets have fallen left, right, and centre. Not surprised. John says, I'm too old to kick the cat over a cricket loss. I got all my anger out years ago with the state of cricket under Kim Hughes and Border's early captaincy. Yeah, that's right, John. Look, at the end of the day, why put yourself through stress and anxiety on something that you can't control? We can't control how Australia are playing this series. Only the players can do that. So at the end of the day, the saying I always use is just a game of cricket. Just a game of cricket. It's not the be-all, end-all. Yeah, if Australia lose the series, yeah, India the better team. And you've got to credit that. Anyway, that's just the way it goes. But yeah, it's going to be tough in the review for Australia. Definitely after this test. It was definitely tough after Nagpur, but it's going to be tough after this test. Where to now? But, I don't think we should be surprised by Australia's, struggles in India. Alrighty then, everyone. Okay, so while we've got some time, everyone, I would like to make a special announcement. And I hope everyone respects the decision that I've made. I haven't taken it lightly. I've given it some thought and some consideration. But I feel like it's probably the right decision to make. I have decided that today's live stream will be our last ever live stream on the podcast. It's a decision that I've made myself, and I've decided to make that decision today. I've thought about it long and hard. At the end of the day, the old saying goes, if you're having fun, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not enjoying it and you're not having fun, then why keep doing something that you're not enjoying or having fun over? So I've decided purely based on that I've decided to end the live streams on the podcast. It's been great fun talking to everyone. It's been great fun interacting with all of you. It's been great fun talking cricket with all of you as we watch the game together, wherever you may be around the world and all that. It's been great interacting with all of you in the comments, the kind words that I've received. But I feel like I'm not enjoying it as I did at the start. And I feel like if I'm not enjoying something that I'm so passionate about, then why keep doing it? So for me, it's purely based, the fun factor has gone away a little bit. I'm not as committed or happy doing the watch-alongs anymore. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of effort. And for me, I just feel like it's not a viable thing for me going forward. The podcast will still be here, no doubt about that. We're not going anywhere. But I feel like for me, I think, I've done enough. I've done a few games, but I feel like it's just I'm not enjoying it as I once did anymore. And I've noticed that. And it's just like when you're playing, if I can use that analogy with cricket, when the right time is to retire. Only you would know the decision, and no one else could make that decision for you. So I've made this decision. I hope everyone respects the decision I've made. And I've made this decision not lightly, but I feel like for me, I'm not enjoying it as I once did when I first started the live streams last summer. And I've noticed a shift in mindset and enjoyment factor, and it's not been enjoying for me. So I hope everyone understands. Thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in to our live streams and watch-alongs. I'm very grateful for everyone's support, encouragement, the kind words, and all the fun that we've had over the live streams we've done. I can't put a number on how many live streams we've done, but we've done a few. It's been great fun, but I feel like for me now, going forward with the podcast, I'm going to keep doing the episodes and keep posting them out. But for live streams and watch-alongs, for me, I'm just not enjoying it as I once did. And I feel like it's time to move on and do another challenge, as they say. It's not a light decision, but hey, let's not get sad and let's not, feel down and upset about this. Let's have some fun for this last bit of this test match. Let's enjoy it. And I hope everyone will have some fun as well. But let's do it, everyone. Let's have some fun. Hey, lift our spirits a bit. It's a tough test match if you're an Australian supporter, but let's just have some fun as we have throughout these watch-alongs and live streams. And let's finish off on a very good note, shall we? And thanks, everyone, for the support. So that's the important announcement. I hope everyone respects it. And please respect the decision I've made, purely because it's just coming down to not enjoying them as I once did. And as I said before, the old saying goes, when you're not enjoying something, then it's time to do something else or time to give it up. So that's what I've decided. But thank you, everyone, for your support. Let's finish off strongly, and let's see how this test match will unfold. But thank you, everyone, for everything, for your support, kind words, and it's been great fun. Let's finish off strongly, and hopefully we can have many more fun on the podcast. I've got a lot of cool things that are lined up for everyone to listen to episodes, watch episodes, even interviews with guests. I recently interviewed a very important guest for us for the podcast yesterday, which was a great chat. And that's going to come out very shortly, within the next few days or week. So please stay tuned for that. So anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about the cricket. Australia in a difficult position. India needing 115 runs to win in this second innings. And it hasn't been a great day for Australia. It's been another day where it's slipped away from them again. And this test match is going the wrong way for them. And yeah. So as we begin this last innings of this test match, and probably it could be the last day as well, which is understandable, as Matt Kuhneman will bowl this last over. This first over of this second innings for India, He got a wicket in the first innings, Kuhneman. A controversial decision, you will have to say, with Virat Kohli. But anyway, it's a test wicket for Kuhneman and something that he will remember for a long time. Alrighty then. Kuhnemann, left arm around the wicket, so the left arm spinner. He'll be bowling to the right hand batter in Rohit Sharma. Hello, Raj. Hope you're well. And this one defended by Sharma onto the offside for no run. Hello, Raj. Hope you're well, mates. Thanks for joining us. Raj, the decision I've made is that I'm going to step away for good. I feel like I'm not enjoying them as I once did. I'm still enjoying making the podcast and producing episodes for all of you who watch the episodes and listen to them, which I'm eternally grateful for. But I feel like doing these streams, they take a lot of time and effort out of me, and I'm not really enjoying them as I once did. So I'm not stepping away from podcasting for good, Raj, but it's for live streams. I'm just talking about live streams specifically. It was a tough decision, but I think it's the right one I've made going forward. But we can still have some fun. It doesn't mean that we're going to, have less fun. We're still going to have some fun as India are off the mark. And Rohit Sharma's off the mark. A run conceded by Kuhnemann in his first over. 114 for India to win. They need 115 runs to win. Is there a twist and a turn in this test match, or will India just bat dominantly and take this game by a 10-wicket victory? You never know, but let's see what's going to unfold in this final period of play, which you would think of this test match. But thank you, Raj. Thanks for your support as well. No worries, Raj. It's been great fun, but we've done a few, and I feel like the time is right to step away from live streams. Yes, to say, Raj, I can see India collapsing too. It's not uncommon with this team. Yeah, well, Australia needs something to go their way, do they? You never know. It's all been happening in this test match with the amount of wickets that have fallen. Anyway, Kuhnemann to Rahul pushes us nicely through the offside for a single, and he's off the mark, Rahul. He is under pressure, so a good innings from Rahul here. Definitely bring him with some confidence and some reassurance. John says, that means I have to listen to Nick and Gabe. Oh, my erupted eardrums. I've enjoyed your live streams, but always in life, do what's best for yourself. Never say you might get the itch again. Thank you, John, for that kind words. Great support from you as always. As this one's driven down the ground for 4 from Rohit Sharma. That is the end of the over. It's none for 6. And India, I need 109 runs to win. Good start in the first over, 6 runs. Well, thank you, John. Yeah, but it's a decision I've made. I haven't made it lightly, but I feel like everyone should know about that decision. And I just feel a bit better with that decision being made. And I'm just not enjoying it as I once did. It's been great fun, though. Let's finish off strongly, and let's have a good time as always. There's Nathan Lyon. He's into the attack. Pat Cummins saying, right, we're going to bowl 2 spinners from both ends. We've got to get wickets. That's the only way we're going to win this match, is to bowl India out, hopefully, for a low total. He's going to be bowling to Rahul. Yeah, Raj says, what a shot. Yes, it was a very good shot from Rohit Sharma. Nathan Lyon's going to be bowling right arm around the wicket to the right-hander in Rohit Sharma, the captain. Well, Australia have packed the leg side field. There's a lot of protection on the leg side. There's only a couple of 3 fielders on the offside. Lying in. This one turns up in the air and taken. He's gone. He's gone. Rahul is gone. The first wicket for Australia. He went to work it through the leg side. He hit it straight up in the air, and Alex Carey took the catch. This test match is not done yet. Rahul is gone. India need 115 to win. They've lost the first wicket. It rebounded off the fielder at short leg and straight into the hands of Carey. Well, how unlucky can you get, Rahul? Very unlucky. Nathan Lyon strikes in his first over. This test match is come alive in Delhi. Game on, I say. I think this test match is going to have a dramatic finish. First wicket down. Rahul gone. For one, he walks back to the pavilion in disarray, tosses his bat in the air, and he thinks, how on earth did I hit the short leg fielder and it rebounded up in the air and straight into the gloves of wicketkeeper Alex Carey. Rohit Sharma leans on his bat, disappointed, and he is saying, what has just happened? That is the 10th wicket to fall in this session for 58 runs. That's including Australia's batting collapse, of course. But what a start for Australia. Cheshwar Pujara, 100th test match for him. He got out for a duck in the first innings. LBW. He'll be hoping to get a score here if he can. But thanks everyone for joining us. As I mentioned before, thanks everyone for your understanding with the decision I've made. And let's just have some fun, hey? Finish off this last watch-along live stream on a good note. But we're still going to have fun on the podcast. You know, I've got some cool episodes planned. We got some guests lined up. I interviewed a guest for our cricket discussion yesterday. That was a great chat with that special guest. And that's going to be coming out very shortly. And I hope everyone will enjoy it. But thanks, everyone, for your kind words and your understanding. And let's just have a good time. Cheshwar Pujara on strike. He's directing the side screen. Something's distracting him. Nathan Lyon's helping out as well as Michael Goff, the umpire. Thank you, Raj. No worries, Raj. But good to see you as always. Thank you for coming in. No doubt I will be there. I'll be in the comments. And I'll probably drop in as well with Nick and Gabe. And they're currently streaming at the moment. So if you want to go over there, check out Nick and Gabe. They're having some great people on the stream there. A lot of people watching. Go and support them. Don't have to go over and support me if you don't want to. That's okay. But we try our best. Anyway, there's an appeal for stumping. This one past the outside edge of Pujara from Lyon. Alex Carey whipped off the bails in a flash, but I'm pretty sure, judging by the body language of Cheshwar Pujara, he was pretty much safe. And he got that back foot behind the line. But thank you, Raj, for the kind words, and see you again. Nathan Lyon, good delivery. Past the outside edge, turned and straightened. He hasn't hit it, so he's not out caught. So the only dismissal here is out stumped. Let's have a look. Nothing on ultra edge. You can clearly see from the front on spin vision there. This one is a flat line. And that's pretty conclusive. That we can detect that Pujara hasn't hit the ball. Now, did his foot move? It's pretty much grounded behind the line there. So as the bails are removed out of its grooves for the wicket to be put down, Cheshwar Pujara had his foot grounded beyond the back edge of the popping crease, and therefore he is not out. There we go. That is that. Line into Pujara. This one traps him on the pad again. Pujara plays it to ground, and there is a dot ball. Lots happening in this test match. What's going to happen in this test match? Can Australia win? Can India win? We shall see. Well, thanks, everyone, for joining us. If you have joined us as line in to Pujara, who works it just wide off the fielder at short leg, nearly carrying to Peter Hanscom, I think, at short leg, but it was just rolling along the ground. Rolling along the ground there. Line in to Pujara again, who works it onto the leg side. He can't beat the fielder at mid-wicket. It is a dot ball. Matt Renshaw fields it. It's shaping up to be a wicket maiden for Nathan Lyon. He bowled well in the first innings, Lyon. He got 5 wickets. It was good to see Nathan Lyon really go about his business in the first innings with the ball. But thanks everyone for watching and for listening. As I said, this is our last ever watch along and live stream for good on the podcast. I'm not going to be doing any more after this. And thank you for your understanding and kind words. Line into Pujara. This one defended. There's no run. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 6. India need 115 runs to win if they are going to take a 2-0 series lead. But it's game on in this test match. It could go either way. You never know. 1 for 6 after 2. 115 is the target for India. Nathan Lyon picking up the first wicket. He's got 6 wickets for this test match thus far. Can he pick up a bag of wickets, get a few more wickets? Can he cause a collapse, a bit of uncertainty in the Indian batting lineup? Something for Australia to cling on to hope. We shall see. Anyway, India, 109 runs to win they need. This one defended by Rohit Sharma off Kuhneman, who continues. And he will bowl the third over. 109 runs, 9 wickets for Australia to win. It could go any way, this test match. Either way it could go. Kuhneman into Rohit Sharma, who works it nicely through the leg side. Down to Cummins, who had to field on the boundary at wide long off, I should say. And he comes back for a couple of runs. The captain, Rohit Sharma, nicely played in the end. Got down to the pitch, met the ball nicely there, Rohit Sharma, unfazed. Kuhneman into Rohit Sharma, who defends on the front foot for no run. And India, 107 runs to win. Australia need 9 wickets to level the series. Pretty much we've seen carnage on this pitch. Once 1 wicket falls, a whole heap fall. Kuhneman in to Sharma. This one's spinning past his outside off stump. But well left by Rohit Sharma. John says, so if Warner passes the concussion protocols, will he play the next test with the elbow injury? It depends on that, John. Look, I'm not sure how long of a gap between the second and third test. I think in the protocols, I think it's around about 12 days if you have concussion and you're subbed out. So he'll have to pass the tests. And he's got that fracture to his elbow. So it's going to be touch and go regardless. And I think for Australia, I think they will stick with Travis Head to be opener, I think. After what we saw in this test match here where he opened, I think they'll stick with Travis Head as opener for the next test if Warner is ruled out. But it comes down to concussion test and if he can pass it. That's a boundary to finish the over from Rohit Sharma. He's on 11. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 10. Sorry, not 1 for 10. It's 1 for... What's the score? 1 for... Anyway, just lost track of the score there. It'll pop up sooner or later. Let's have a look. Nice boundary there from Rohit Sharma, which clips it nicely. 1 for 12 at the end of the third over. India need 103 runs to win. We're not far away from the lunch break. And 103 runs required for India to win. Australia just need 9 wickets to win. Going to be touch and go, that's for sure. Nathan Lyon in, he bowls. This one worked on the leg side. From Pujara, he's off the mark. Not quite. Good fielding behind square on the leg side for a dot ball. So to answer your question there, John, it's pretty much on the concussion side of things. If he does pass, he's fit to play. And if he can bat with that elbow injury, then Warner will play. If not, it just comes down to the medical staff, whether or not they think he's passed the tests or not. Lyon in, and Pujara defends on the front foot with ease. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I know a lot of people are over with Nick and Gabe joining them, so that's understandable if you're not with us. That's fine. As I mentioned before, this is our last ever live stream. I'm not going to be doing any more after this. I've decided that is that. I need to do something else, and I'm not really enjoying the live streams as I once did anymore. And this one worked onto the leg side by Pujara off Lyon, and it's straight to the deep square leg fielder for one. But thank you, everyone, for respecting the decision that I've made. I haven't taken it lightly. I always enjoy coming on and speaking to all of you who love this great game of ours. But for me, I just feel like the time and effort and doing it has just taken its toll. And I just need to do something else. And we'll be still posting episodes on the podcast. So we're not going to be stopping that. We're still going to be keeping in touch with that, but not so much with the watch-alongs and live streams anymore. That one's worked onto the leg side by Rohit Sharma for a single. He moves on to 12. Not far away until the lunch break for this first session. It's been a dramatic, crazy first session. Wickets have fallen left, right, and centre. And that is the end of that. And Australia will be hoping that they can pick up another wicket. Nathan Lyon got the first wicket. He's hoping for another one here. Line in to Pujara, works it off his hip, works it off his pads. Pass short leg for a dot ball. He was thinking about a single, but in the end, they decided against it. Yeah, so it's going to be touch and go regardless, John. It depends if he passes the concussion protocols and test. And also if he can bat with that fractured elbow as well, where he got hit on day one, David Warner. So it's going to be touch and go. He'll be pushing to play, of course. But if he doesn't play, then Australia have to consider, do we open with Travis Head like we did in the second innings of this second test? Or do we go with Matt Renshaw? And I think it will be Travis Head they'll go with. 101 runs for India to win. They are 1 for 14. Last ball of the fourth over. Can Lyon pick up a wicket? He's in over the wicket to Pujara, who pads away this delivery outside off stump. No trouble of getting out LBW. That's the end of the fourth over. It's 1 for 14 after 4. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for the second test match. Day number 3, first session. Between India and Australia. And that is the last over. That will be lunch on day 3. And India need 101 runs to win. We're definitely going to go into the second session. And India 1 for 14. 4 overs have been bowled. Rohit Sharma on 12. Pujara 1. 101 India need to win. Australia need pretty much 9 wickets to win this test match. Well, what a dramatic session it was. 23.1 overs have been bowled. 10 wickets for 66 runs. Those figures sort of remind me of something, sort of like Jim Laker's figures when he got 10 wickets at Old Trafford in that test match in 1956 in the Ashes. And he got 19 wickets for the match there. So the session figures have reflected that. But it is lunch in this first session, and India are 1 for 14 after 4 overs. Lunch has been taken, and it has been a very interesting session of play. The Australian scorecard, only 2 batsmen scored double figures. That was Travis Head and Marnus Labuschagne. Everyone else struggled with the spin of Ashwin and Jadeja. Jadeja, the leading wicket taker for India in that second innings bowling performance, taking 7 wickets, I believe. And his partner in crime, Ravi Ashwin, helped him out as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit. John says, the elbow is more of a concern, I feel. Plus, he said he is very tired coming into this series. I think that 200 took more out of him than we realize. Like a marathon runner, there's only so many in you. I think so, that as well, John. I do agree with that. When you've batted for long innings, especially that day in Melbourne, it was quite hot, 40 degrees, touching around about there. When you've batted for that long, for over 6 hours or nearly close to 10 hours at the crease when you score 200, it's definitely going to take a toll out of you. So yeah, maybe it's a good thing, I should say, that David Warner's probably going to take a break. Obviously, you don't like to get injured and have concussion, but I think for him just to reset mentally and hopefully reassess where he's at in his career. And no doubt he's under the pump from many people who are questioning that. But yeah, I do understand where you're coming from there. Alrighty then, that's lunch on day 3. Definitely India's session. It was definitely India's session in that first session of play. They needed to pick up early wickets, and they did. The collapse happened like a domino effect. 10 wickets were lost for 66 runs. That's including the wicket that India lost of Rahul, who chipped it straight up in the air, and he was out caught by Alex Carey. Alrighty then. So there we go. So let us know in the comments, everyone. Where do you think this test match is going to go? Do you think it's still India's going to win? Do you think Australia got a chance? Let us know. Be good to hear your thoughts. And you better get the comments and thoughts in and questions if you want me to ask them for this live stream. Because, as I mentioned, this is our last live stream for good. I won't be doing any more after this. And I've already made that announcement in this stream. So get them in if you can. And I'll be happy to answer them. And we're definitely going to stream a little bit of the second session, and then probably I'm going to call it quits after that, and then probably end it after that. So thanks everyone for tuning in. If you have, that's much appreciated. I really do appreciate everyone's support for these live stream and watch alongs. Unfortunately, they're coming to an end. But as I said, we're still going to have some fun on the podcast. We're not done with that side of the podcast side of things. We still got some cool episodes that are planned to come out and to be released. We've got some more historical series episodes coming out. We've got some fun things planned. So join us if you want. Subscribe and do all those good things as we keep mentioning. Because I really do enjoy the podcast and talking cricket, which is a great passion of mine. And it can be very difficult at times watching difficult test matches like this when Australia are playing. But nonetheless, that's just the way it goes. At the end of the day, it's only a game of cricket. It's only a game of cricket, as they say. Nothing to get worked up over, nothing. John says, I think India will get the Kohli wobbles. But the lower order will see them over the line. Yeah, you would think so, John, and I agree with that. So we shall see. But India, definitely in the box seat to win this test match. Australia lost 9 for 48 in that session, and yet again, it's going to be a disaster here in Delhi at the Fisher Quarter. And unfortunately for Australia, their only test victory came at Delhi back in 1959. So it's 64 years ago, and it's not going to improve that record. Still going to search for that next win here in Delhi. Unfortunately for them, but you have to say India have been the better team. They've performed well. And this series had a lot of expectations, a lot of people up for the series. Unfortunately, it hasn't panned out that way. So it's lost a little bit of its fizz, you would say, given how Australia have performed. And it's just probably going to become a one-sided series, you would think. Let's hope not. Let's hope Australia can, get back and win a game or two. If Australia can win a game or two, then they'll take that out of a series that's been difficult for them. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And I hope everyone's enjoying the live stream and the watch-along. As I said, this is our last live stream watch-along for good. And thanks, everyone, for your kind words and encouragement there. As I sign out for the final time today with these live streams and watch-alongs. But I really do appreciate everyone's company, support, and it's been great to be with you all. So we're just going to have a chat for a bit. It's the lunch break. Let's just have a chat. If you've got any more questions, please send them through. This is probably most likely the last opportunity you would do that. And unfortunately, I will be not doing these live streams further. So if you got any, questions or thoughts that you may have, send them through because this will be the last time that you will be able to do that. So any questions, any thoughts about the game, please send them through. I'll be happy to answer them as always. Lunch here at the Fresher Quarter, and India 1 for 14 after 4 overs. It's been their test match. They've been dominating this test match from start to finish, you would say now, as this is not going to plan for the Australian team, which is disappointing for Australia. But, we sort of knew that this was going to happen, didn't we? And that's what's happened. Alrighty then, everyone. We'll definitely wait until the lunch break is finished, but I may decide to go and probably not stream the second session because I think we probably know where the result's going to head to. It's probably going to be India to win this test match. But if we don't stream the second session, I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm really grateful for everyone's support, encouragement on these watch-alongs and live streams, and for the podcast as well. It's been great fun. It's been a great journey. But unfortunately, for me, I'm not quite enjoying the journey of doing these watch-alongs and live streams as I once did. It hasn't been enjoyable for me, especially over the last few watch-alongs that we have done. So yeah, it's you can never say never. We may come back, we may not, but I've made my decision, and that decision is to just stop, basically, and focus on other things with the podcast and all my energy and resources into other things. So thank you, everyone, for supporting that decision. And it's been great fun. It's been great fun talking to everyone about cricket and their thoughts on the game and what they think. And it's been great fun interacting with all of you. And I hope everyone can take some joy out of the watch-alongs that we've done. And I really appreciate everyone's support. I really do. I really do. And thank you so much for supporting the podcast. And we're still going to have some fun. Yes, this announcement may be a little bit doom and gloom. But hey, we're still going to have some fun. We're still going to enjoy ourselves. Just have fun talking cricket. We can still do that, even if we're not doing live streams or watch-alongs anymore. We can still do that. So thank you, everyone, for all those kind words and support that you have given me on these watch-alongs and live streams. I really do appreciate it. It's still lunch In this second test match, day number 3, first session, India won for 14 after 4 overs. They need 115 runs to win. So any questions, anything that you may have, I'll be happy to, answer them. And then I will probably sign out, and that will be the end of this wonderful journey when it comes to watch-alongs and live streams. So anyone offering their thoughts, I know the match is pretty much well done and dusted, and that's understandable. So, it's been difficult for Australia, but for India, you got to say they're the better team, and they have been the better team from the start of this test series. It hasn't been great for Australia today. It's been another disappointing day in this series for them. And for India, it's been a very dominant performance from them in this series. Alrighty then. If we don't have any more comments, we don't have any more people who are, wanting to add their thoughts or comments to this game. For the final time, I would like to say thank you to everyone who has watched the watch-alongs and that we've done in live streams over the last few months. Through the Australian summer, which was last summer. That was great. Doing the Australian International Summer. A few of the Big Bash games. The T20 World Cup we did. Also this India series with Australia, of course. And many other live streams that we've done as well across all 3 formats of the game. It's been great hanging out with everyone, talking to everyone, interacting with everyone in the chat. It's been great hanging out with you guys. And it's been great that people have supported the channel the way they have. I've been extremely grateful with that. Thank you so much. But I hope everyone respects the decision I've made, and that is to step away from the watch-alongs and live streams for good. As I mentioned earlier, when I made that announcement, that it came down to just not really enjoying it anymore, not really having fun. It takes a lot of time and energy, and that's something that I don't have in terms of just giving 100% every time that we come on and do these live streams and watch-alongs. So I thought, well, if you're not enjoying something, then you must that must be a sign to probably move on and do other things. But despite that sad, gloomy news, but we can still have fun. We can still have fun. We can still talk cricket. We can still interact. We can still talk cricket. We're going to be posting episodes on the podcast about cricket still. The podcast is not going to go anywhere. It's still going to be here. I love making episodes and getting them out for everyone to listen to. So we're still going to have fun, but just not with live streams and watch-alongs. So once again, everyone, thank you, everyone, for respecting that decision. I've enjoyed them immensely over the last few months that we've did these watch-alongs and live streams. I've really enjoyed it. I hope everyone has enjoyed it as well. I hope I could have put a smile on your face during the day. I hope I could make you a little bit happier during the day as well when you listened to the watch-alongs and live streams. If I've done that, then that's pretty much worth it. But thank you, everyone, who has joined us for these live streams and watch-alongs over the last few months that we've done them on the podcast. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And for the final time, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. The podcast is now available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. So make sure you do follow the podcast in those various forms. It really does help. It does help support us and get the podcast out there for people to listen to and watch episodes and videos. And thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. I really appreciate the support. But thank you, everyone. we hope to see you all again, certainly in the comments or certainly other things that we're doing with the podcast. We can still have some fun, interact with each other. But I feel that I've given it my all, and I can't do much more, unfortunately. I'm just not enjoying them as I once did. So if everyone has final comments, final questions that you may ask, now's your time, because we're not going to be doing this much into the future, of course. Thank you, Cody, for joining. Thank you for your comment. You say, do you plan to do short reviews? That might help you grow. Cody, we've already done match reviews. We've already done that on the test matches and every game that we've covered on the podcast thus far. We've always done a match review. So we'll be continuing doing that. And we'll be not stopping those, obviously. There will definitely be a review to come out after this second test, which is not going to be a pleasant review to do, especially with Australia not playing well. But now we've already done short reviews and all that stuff, so we'll be still doing that. But to help us grow and to help us be the channel that we are, is for you to subscribe and support us, which helps. So, but I hope everyone respects the decision that I've made. I'm just not enjoying it. I'm not just having fun. Cricket's meant to be having fun, and when you're not having fun and being miserable, it's not enjoyable. So I hope everyone's respected the decision. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words, encouragement. I've really been touched by all your kind comments and words over the last, since I've been doing the podcast. It's been great fun. But for me, it's time to do something else in terms of not doing live streams and watch-alongs, but doing something else with the podcast and, branching off into different things that we can work on and improve on. We're still going to have fun. It's not like we're going to have no fun. We can still talk cricket. We can still have fun. But just for me, can't really keep doing these live streams and watch-alongs. I just don't have the energy or the fight left in me. It does take a lot of my time. It does take a lot of effort. And, life is a weird sort of thing. So you need to really prioritize areas. And that's what I'm doing. But Gabe, thanks for joining us, Gabe, for your comment. Great live stream, by the way, with you and Nick. Enjoyed it. You say seriously. Is that referring to the match, Gabe, or to my decision of not doing watch-alongs or live streams anymore? If you can add a few words to that. Either way, if you're talking about Australia, Gabe, well, number one, it hasn't been great. Not a great day for Australia again in this series. Also, if you're talking about the decision that I've made as well, then I've made that decision, Gabe. I just feel like I'm not really enjoying it as I once did with the live streams or watch-alongs. They've been great fun, but I've noticed over the last few, in particular, it hasn't been enjoyable. And as they say, if you want to enjoy something, you got to be having fun, and I'm not really having fun. So I hope that's answered your question there, Gabe. But thank you for joining as always. Really appreciate it. And thank you everyone for joining as well. So let's have a quick summary, shall we? After all that sad news and doom and gloom, enough about me. Let's talk about the test match, and let's have a quick summary at this lunch break. Let's just recap the scores, shall we? It's not a pleasant, excuse me, not a pleasant, not a pleasant scorecard if you're an Australian supporter. Let's go through the scores. Let's have a recap of what's happened today. Pretty much Australia capitulated in the first session of today. Travis Head was the first to go, and that really started the collapse. Wickets fell at regular intervals, and Australia were on the ropes from that moment on. But let's have a look at the scorecard, how Australia went in their second innings. Khawaja was gone for 6. He was caught by Iyer, bowled by Jadeja. Travis Head was caught by Bharat, bowled Ashwin for 43. Labuschagne was bowled by Jadeja for 35. Smith, LBW to Ashwin for 2. Peter Hanscom was gone for a duck. He was caught by Curly, bowled by Jadeja. Carey was bowled by Jadeja for 7. Cummins was bowled by Jadeja for a golden duck. And then Jadeja bowled Nathan Lyon for 8. And then Jadeja bowled Kuhnemann for a duck. So a lot of bold dismissals there from Jadeja. Let's have a look at the Indian bowlers and how they performed. Ashwin, 3 for 59 from his 16 overs. Shami, none for 10 from his 2 overs. Jadeja, the standout bowler for India, 7 for 42 in 12.1 overs. And Axel Patel only bowled 1 over, none for 2. India need 115 runs to win. In reply, they're currently at lunch, 1 for 14 from 4 overs. The only wicket to fall was Rahul. He was caught by Carey. He gloved one straight up in the air, which Carey took pretty much a ricochet off the short leg fielder. And he was gone for 1. Rohit Sharma is currently in on 12, not out, and Pujara's 1 not out. Are the not out batters at the moment. Australia have bowled 2 bowlers. Kuhnemann's bowled 2 overs, none for 12. Lyons bowled 2 overs, 1 for 2. There we go. There we go. So that is the score at the moment. India 114, 101 runs to win, to take a 2-0 series lead, to go on and to potentially wrap up this series and make it hard for Australia to now win the series. Because if India win...
Sorry, I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
Sorry about that, everyone. That's just my phone going off with Siri in the background. I do apologize for that.
I'm not sure I'm hearing you correctly. My apologies.
Sorry about that, everyone. Siri just going off, having a mind of its own. Well, that's the beauty of live streaming, I suppose. Things unexpectedly happen. Anyway, so that's where we are at lunch. Cody says, you can still do the final or match live. Yeah, Cody. Yeah, at the end of the day, look, it's the decision I've made. I've decided not to do live streaming anymore. I'm just not enjoying it. And I just want to watch cricket in peace rather than talking about it, as I do with the podcast. But look, at the end of the day, the enjoyment factor's not there anymore. I'm just not feeling up to it. I'm not just enjoying it, which is something that I've noticed recently. So, as I said before, it comes down, whatever you do in life, if you're enjoying something and having fun, that's great. But if you're not enjoying something that you do, you need to do something else and have a different challenge. So, yeah, you never know. You never say never, as they say, as the old saying goes. You never say never. But for me, I've made that decision, and I would like everyone to respect that. It's purely a decision that I've made, and it was a hard decision, but I feel like it's the right decision for me to just give up streaming going forward, because it's pretty much draining. That's the thing for me, and I'm not enjoying it as I once did when we started. So, but the podcast is not going anywhere, and we're still going to have fun on the podcast, but not just live streaming anymore. So, but Cody, to go back to your question there, you never know. You never say never, but I've made the decision, so that's that. Cody says, no chance from here on out. Some of the shots, some of the worst shots, I should say, were played today. Yes, they were. I think if Australia had their game again, had their chance again to bat, they would have batted a lot better than they did. But you can't control that. Can't control that outcome. Look, Jihan says if they got a lead of 100 yesterday, it would have been game on. India's lower order batting has been the difference. Yeah, Jihan, that 8th-wicket partnership between Patel and Ashwin cost Australia. I even was saying it when I was in the chat with Nick and Gabe in their live stream that they did yesterday on day 2. I said if Australia got a lead of 50 plus or 100, then it would have put them in good stead to potentially, put India under some sort of pressure and win this test match. Australia needed a big lead to do that. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and that hasn't happened. And that's the disappointing factor. But look, at the end of the day, it's only a game of cricket. And, we can, worry about things that we can't control. So that's always the mentality I always look at cricket, is that as a fan, you can't control what the team does. You can't control how the players go about playing the game. The only one who can do that and control what they do is the players, not the fans. So anyway, it is what it is. And it's been very disappointing from an Australian point of view, that's for sure. Yes, say Jihan. I say the next match bring Lance Morris in and subject numbers 8-11 to a bouncer barrage. Even on these slow pitches will be hard to duck. Yeah, look, I think Australia may do that. Look, it depends if Mitchell Stark's fit. If he's not fit, I think Australia should go with Lance Morris. You've got nothing to lose now, really. You can start, getting him into Test cricket, give him some exposure and experience. If you can do that, then that's that. We saw Pat Cummins yesterday. He bowled a few short balls to the tail, and look what happened. They got a little bit awkward. They got a little bit tucked up. If you bowl a good short ball at the head and in between the head and the shoulder or the armpit, tail enders are always going to get cramped up for room, and you always got a chance of getting them out. So I think Australia didn't do that a lot. Pat Cummins didn't do that a lot, but then when he started to do that, things started to happen. So maybe Australia just need to relook at that for the next test. But anyway, that's for the selectors and for the team to work out, and Pat Cummins. But Lance Morris, he's a pretty good bowler. I say, why not? Give him a go. Australia pretty much got nothing to lose now. They would like to avoid a very crushing series defeat. Why not? Do it. But thank you for your input there, Jihan, as always. So it's still lunch. Yeah, 1 for 14, 4 overs. 115 is the target for India. We pretty much know where this game's going to go towards. It's definitely going to go towards India's favour. But you never know in cricket. Cricket's an unpredictable game. So you never know. But any more questions, everyone? I'm just giving everyone an opportunity to get their questions in and comments, because if you weren't here earlier and you missed out on my announcement that this is our last live stream for good. We won't be doing any more live streams after this. As I mentioned, it's been great fun. But for me, I just, can't keep doing these live streams going forward with the podcast. So if you missed that announcement, then that's the decision I've made. And thank you to everyone who've said some kind words and some encouraging words with that decision as well. I hope everyone can respect it. As I said, you never say never, but for me, I'm pretty much done, really, with the live streaming side of things of the podcast. But with the other side, with the podcast things, like posting episodes and that, we're not done with that. We're still going to have fun with that, but not just with live streams or watch-alongs. So get your questions in and answers, and I'll be happy to answer them if I can. Jihan says, what are your thoughts about it? India accusing Australia of picture doctoring surfaces like the Gabba and Perth? That's just the natural state of the soil and the dry weather. Yeah, we always have this argument, do we, Jihan, about pitches, and even in this series. look, at the end of the day, it's hard for teams to win away from home. And conditions, you're going to do what you are going to do to the pitch if the team's going to, win that particular game at home. Now, obviously, in Australia, fast, bouncy pitches at Perth and Brisbane, it's just how they are as wickets. The clay soil, once it gets hard, it's, good bounce, good carry. Teams who come from countries like the subcontinent that don't face that often because the bounce is low, they do struggle with that. So you're always going to do what's going to favour the home side. And all cricket countries do this. You go to England, you play on green seamers that are a bit damp. You go to Australia, hard and fast and bouncy. You go to India, pitches turn and crumble. Same in Sri Lanka and even Bangladesh. So as the away team, it's about trying to adapt to those conditions and making sure you can, play accordingly to that. As we've seen in this series with Australia, the bottom line is they're just not good enough in these conditions. They just can't, find a way with the bat or with the ball at times to get wickets or score runs on these surfaces. And that just comes down to maybe we should think about playing some more A games or, getting some Australian players to go and play in India, for example, for, tour matches and that with Australia A or something like that. So the next crop of players coming through, when they go to India and have the chance to play a test match, they know what to expect in these conditions. But in this modern era of not having tour matches as we did in the past, it's definitely hindered teams in a way in terms of trying to, get used to the conditions and hopefully win. But it's a very tough place to tour and win away from home. Yesterday, Jihan, Sheffield Shield is played on those surfaces. If anything, they flatten them out for the rest for the test matches to make it last 5 days. Yeah, usually in Shield matches, you'll see a little bit of something in the wicket because, for Sheffield Shield matches, first-class cricket, it's only 4 days. Whereas in Test cricket, it's 5 days. You've got the opportunity to, let the pitch deteriorate slowly and hopefully bring the bowlers in. So, but I think it comes down to how curators prepare pitches and how they do all that stuff, I think. Yes, to say, Jihan, Australia never slowed down the pitches when the West Indian quicks came in the 80s. They used to lose regularly at Perth. Yeah. Well, that came down to the West Indies having great bowlers, especially bowling in Perth, of course, in Brisbane, pace and bounce. And Australia also had quick bowlers as well at that time, Dennis Lilly and Jeff Thompson as an example. It's an interesting subject. Look, it's always been talked about pitches and what makes a good pitch and all that stuff. Look, at the end of the day, as a curator, as a groundsman, whenever you make a pitch, you don't know how it's going to play. No one knows how it's going to play. And interesting on this, yesterday when I interviewed our guest for the podcast, he talked about that as well. He talked about how, everyone in cricket looks down on the pitch, presses their fingers on the surface to see how soft or hard it is. So we're quite fascinating with cricket pitches and how they will play. At the end of the day, no one knows how a cricket pitch will play over 5 days or 4 days or 3 days, depends what sort of cricket you play, or even 1 day matches or 2 day matches. So it's quite an unknown quantity when it comes to the game of cricket. It's an unknown with pitches. So we always get transfixed on how well the pitch will play. But at the end of the day, as a player and as the teams, you just got to go out, play on the surface and see what it does. And if it plays the way that you expected, then so be it. So, it just comes down to curators just preparing the best possible surface they can be. I think in world cricket at the moment, I think the balance between bat and ball's a little bit over to the bat. We need to try and get the balance back in the middle. But that's often not an easy task because preparing a cricket wicket, a pitch, it takes a lot of time, effort, you need the weather. If all those things don't work out, then the pitch is not going to be prepared the best possible way it can be. John, you say, I'd love to see the SCG turn more. Can't pinpoint a time or reason why/when it changed. Yeah, I think many people would like to see that, John. And I think maybe that's why Australia are struggling in India, because we don't have pitches that turn. And playing spin bowling in Australia is quite easy because it's not much turn. You get turn, but not as much as you do in the subcontinent. So maybe that's something that we need to look at. Cricket Australia, maybe. If we are going to win in India and do well, how can we better produce pitches that are conducive, especially to spin bowling, to really make sure the team can definitely, improve in these conditions? Because what we've seen thus far on this tour, we've seen Australia struggle. And it's because a lack of experience of playing in these conditions, not enough preparation in pitches or making pitches that turn square. And usually, as you said, at the SCG, the old days, it turned a mile and you played two spinners, but these days you don't. So it's something that we need to think about in order to get better in overseas conditions. It's the same in playing in England, with seaming tracks. You probably need to do that as well. And so it's a very good discussion, but something that we need to think about going forward. If Australia are going to get better in these conditions, it's something that Cricket Australia need to think about. Jihan, excuse me, you say Australian pitchers give the best conditions for bat, ball, fast bowling, and spin bowlers. My only complaint is they can be too flat at times. It allows the best all-round teams to succeed. That's exactly right. We've seen some very flat wickets. If you can remember the test match where Alistair Cook and the Ashes got 244 not out. And that was an absolute flat road at the MCG in that Ashes test match. And that's why the MCG was put on notice. But I think it comes down to the ICC with the pitch reporting process. I think that needs to be, enforced heavily. We've seen in Pakistan, pitches are flat because, we don't want to see test matches that have flat pitches because you just get nothing out of it. You pretty much know what's going to happen. It's going to be a draw. If you're unlike England, who went over to Pakistan and win 3-0 on those pitches, that's just the way they're playing at the moment. But other teams are not playing like England, and probably those test matches end in draws. So I think when it comes down to the reporting of pitches and making sure pitches are to a high standard, I think the ICC sometimes are not really falling through with their pitch rating system. It's a system that they've enforced, that they've created, but they don't seem to carry out those punishments or demerit points that they have set in place if a pitch is not up to standard. So that's something that needs to be looked at. Jihan says, these dust bowls negate teams who have pass bowling strength, which is generally needed to win in most conditions. Yeah, I think it just comes down to home conditions, Jihan. I think it comes down to what's India's best way of winning these test matches against Australia. It's fairly obvious. The spin's going to help them win dramatically. It's their greatest strength and asset. Their fast bowling, not so much, but in recent times, India's fast bowling has been pretty good. Whereas from a time, they always need to rely on their spinners to get the job done in home conditions. But that's going to be their biggest strength. So they want to exploit that. So look, there's nothing that we can do that's going to change this. Home teams are going to play, they're going to prepare pitches that are going to suit their bowlers and suit their batters because these conditions all your life. And it's for the other teams that are touring to prepare themselves and make sure that they can prepare accordingly to do well in these conditions. Australia, need to work that out because we're going to keep getting the same results. What happened in 2017? What happened in 2013 or 2008 or 2010 during those tours? We're always going to struggle in these conditions and nothing's going to change. So the second session has started. And the first ball of the session is a dot ball, Pujara facing Kuhnemann. And thanks everyone for joining us. We'll stream a little bit of the second session. I won't stream all of it. You never know, the game may be done halfway through the session. So we shall wait and see. Kuhnemann into Pujara. This one defended on the onside, and there's no run. John says the SCG square always got roughed up as all the rugby league finals were played in September. Now that it's only home games for the Swans, maybe that's the reason. I think it is, John. I think they did talk about having drop-in wickets at the SCG. But with that, we've seen with drop-in wickets that they can be very flat. We saw that at the MCG. I think the Adelaide Oval's got the right balance with the day-night test. As this one's hit to the boundary by Pujara, dances down the wicket, and he slaps and dispatches Kuhnemann through mid-wicket, through the leg side for 4. India closing in. 1 for 19. They've made a good start, and they've lost. Rahul was the only wicket. Jihan says, I feel seaming tracks bring the relative abilities of the teams closer together. Which is why, although Australia haven't won in England for 20 years, it's still a close series. Yeah, it is. Let's hope Australia can do well in this Ashes series this year. It's definitely going to be a big Ashes series. And the way England are playing at the moment is going to be interesting. But it could also backfire on England as well. So it depends what sort of wickets that England are going to produce. Are they going to produce wickets that have a bit of life in them, a bit of grass, a bit of moisture? Or they're going to produce wickets that have a little bit of grass, but a lack of moisture. So it'll be interesting to see what they do for that Ashes series. As Kuhnemann in again to Pujara, defends this last ball, the over Pujara, for a dot ball. It's the end of the over, good over from India, got the boundary from it, and a single. It's 1 for 19. India need 96 to win. And this test match is slowly coming to an end. Jihan says, same with spinning tracks. You can't say Australia haven't been competitive in the subcontinent of late. 2017, they played well, but lost towards the end of the series. Yeah. I agree with that. Australia have been competitive in this test match. Yes, the test match hasn't gone accordingly to plan, but we saw some improvement, even though this could be a crushing defeat and it's a possibility. But for Australia, it's about the learning experience. How can we get better? What did we do right? What did we do wrong? And apply that for the remaining 2 test matches. It's been difficult, yes, but Australia's not the only team to come to India and lose like this. All teams lose in India. India are just strong. They know these conditions very well, and that's why they haven't lost a test series since 2012 or 2013. The last one they lost was 2012 against England. Nathan Lyon into the attack, and this one, Rohit Sharma defends with his pad, but he was halfway down the wicket. Clearly not out LBW. There was an appeal for leg before, but turned down by the umpire. Lyon in again, and Rohit Sharma dispatches him over the long-on boundary for 6. And Rohit Sharma has clear intentions. He wants to get this done in this second session. 90 runs to win for Australia. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Get your comments and everything and questions in, because this is the last time today. If you didn't join us, I've made the decision, and I hope everyone respects the decision I've made. It's been fun with these live streams, but I can't go on doing them. I'm just not having the fun with them anymore. But thank you, everyone, for the kind words of encouragement, and thank you for your understanding. I really appreciate that. Let's finish off on a good note, shall we? Let's finish off strongly. We'll still have some fun, but not in the form of live streams and watch-alongs anymore. So I hope everyone will have some fun, and I hope I've brought a smile to your day. Even though, if you're an Australian supporter, it's a day of disappointment and a day of, misery. As Rohit Sharma works it down the ground for a single. And a very good player is Rohit Sharma. Nick, thank you for your comment, Nick. You say, let's go, India. With that being said, I wouldn't guarantee a win here. Not being negative, but this pitch is unpredictable. Just don't reverse sweep, please. Thank you for your comment, Nick. Great live stream, by the way, with Gabe earlier. And thanks for your comment. Yeah, you can never discount something happening in this match, but you would think India should be able to get the 115 runs. As lines into Pujara, who works it away through square leg for a single. But Nick, I know you support India, but have the faith, Nick. They're not going to lose this test match. It's pretty much going to be 2-0 to India, you would think. But Australia will give it their all. They'll fight until the end. They won't give up. But it's just a matter of time when India will finish off this match. It will definitely be finished in the second session, that's for sure. Line in to Rohit Sharma, who works it nicely past Carey, the keeper, down to the fine leg boundary for 4. Well controlled by Rohit Sharma. And that's another boundary down the fine leg. India scoring quickly. That's the best way to go on this wicket. If you score runs quickly, you're not going to get out. But if you're just going to stay and defend, you're going to get a ball with your name on it. We saw that from the Australians today. Nice shot from Sharma. Thank you, Nick. Thank you for the kind words. And you say, yeah, I know, good points. Thanks for the live streaming. No worries, Nick. Good to see you on the chat. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for the final time. So I've made that decision. I'm sticking with that decision. And thank you, everyone, for supporting that decision. As there's an appeal for LBW, Michael Goff nods his head, says not out to Nathan Lyon. Nathan Lyon thinking about a review. Pat Cummins saying no. We've already burnt up 3 reviews in the first innings. We should learn our lesson. So they decide not to review it. It's the end of the over. It's 1 for 31. 6 overs have been bowled. India need a further 90-odd runs to win, I think. He was down the wicket there, Rohit Sharma, so that's not out LBW. He was down the wicket, so whether or not the ball was going to hit the stumps is another thing altogether. Nathan Lyon looking the umpire dead in the eyes. He's saying, come on, Michael Goff, give me that LBW. But I think Nathan Lyon knew deep down inside that was not out. 84 runs to win for India. Kuhnemann into Pujara, who advances down the wicket. He drives straight to short cover. And there's no one. Marnus does the fielding. Jihan says, more reverse sweeps from India. Well, let's hope so. I think they would have learnt their lesson. Kuhnemann to Pujara works this onto the offside to the fielder in the deep. And there is a single. Just having a look at Pat Cummins' captaincy record. It's not bad. He's played, 14 matches as captain. He's won 8. This will be probably the 3rd loss. And he's drawn 4 with a win percentage of 61.5, which is not bad. Early days in his career. But as a captain, you have good and bad days and good and bad games. But we got to remember, and at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket. It's not the be-all, end-all. It's not going to be the end of the world if Australia lose a test in India. Not the end of the world. You'll be disappointed about it, but it's not the end of the world. Defended nicely by Rohit Sharma for a dot ball. And he will be intent, Rohit Sharma, on trying to be out there for the winning runs. Important for the captain to do that. He advances down the wicket, Rohit Sharma. This one's been dispatched over the side screen for 6 by Kuhnemann. Kuhnemann gets dispatched for a 6. Rohit Sharma's on 30. India want to finish this off quickly. They need 77 runs. Why not? Finish it off quickly. Have an extra couple of days off. India are looking to finish this game off quickly. Nick, thanks for your question, Nick. What do you think of Gabe's suggestion to sack Pat Cummins as captain? Did he say that? Well, if he did say that, Nick, look, I think we can overreact. Look, at the end of the day, Pat Cummins is not the only one to lose in India for Australia as a captain. There have been many captains that have gone to India as Australian captains that have lost a series. And, it's a wicket. And that is the end of, I believe it's a run out. There's been some confusion, and Rohit Sharma's walking back to the pavilion disconsolate. Oh dear. It's a run out. Oh, it's a mix-up. Rohit Sharma wanted 2. Pujara said, yeah, come on. Halfway down the wicket, Pujara. Rohit Sharma was stranded, and he's gone. That's a cheap wicket. Well, Australia would take that. It's the big wicket of Rohit Sharma. He's gone for 31. Run out by Hanscom. It's 2:39. Well, Australia would definitely take that. They ran a single plus a run out, so the 1 run counts. And for those who want to know how that scoring works, well, if a run out happens, if you run a single, which India did there, and then if you get run out, so the second run doesn't count, but the first one does. And they got a single from that, India. They were going for 2, but the second run was not completed. And therefore, Rohit Sharma was run out. Anyway, Australia will take it. It's a run out. It's a cheap wicket. Miscommunication. Going back to your question there, Nick. It is probably overreacting. I think, obviously Gabe's passionate. He cares. But you don't really want to, sack the captain after this. Look, at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket. Australia are human beings. They're trying their best. But at the end of the day, India are just better in these conditions. So, look, Pat Cummins has done a good job as captain. No doubt this series in India was his biggest test. Unfortunately, he hasn't come up to that test. He hasn't really coped with the challenges all that well. But you learn as a captain on the job. All of the great captains that Australia have had, like Alan Border, Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh, Mark Taylor, Richie Benaud, Ian Chappell. I can name a few more, but just to name a few, they all had challenges. They all learnt on the job, and they all became very good captains. And it's not easy when you're in this situation. So you got to keep the spirits high. I think we can just overreact. That's what happened in the last test when India bowled Australia out cheaply for 91. Everyone said, get rid of Cummins and all this stuff. I was like, at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket. Really, at the end of the day, you shouldn't be blaming Pat Cummins as captain. Maybe you should blame most of the Australian batters for getting out the way they did. Look, at the end of the day, Pat Cummins is not a batter. He's a bowler. And the job of the batters is to score runs, not for the tail enders. And the top and middle order have not done their job for Australia in this series. So I hope that's answered it, Nick. Yes, I say, not only did he say it, he tweeted it. He has lost all... Oh, dear. Well, he was in the chat earlier, Nick. Gabe was in the chat earlier. But he was in the chat earlier. But, yeah. Oh. Yeah. Look, I think, the captain does take responsibility. But at the end of the day, it's up to the 11 players to take that responsibility on their shoulders. And that's what they need to do. India needs 76 runs to win. This is the 7th over. And Nathan Lyon, 114. He's into Pujara. He defends on the front foot. There's no run. Dr. Jihan says Australia bowling for runouts now. Well, bit of confusion there. There was Pujara's not the quickest between the wickets, isn't he? So I'm not surprised that there was a run out. Lyon in beats Pujara outside his outside edge. There's an appeal for stumping. Alex Carey looks confident. Pujara just scratches the ground, looking comfortable. He doesn't think he's out of his ground, but Let's have a look at this stumping. It's a fair delivery. Did he get the foot behind the line before the bails were removed? And the wicket was put down fairly. John says, no worse feeling than when the batters end up at the same end. No, it's not. Good take from Carey. That delivery from Lyon went past Pujara's outside edge, went across with the arm, went on with the arm and the angle. Didn't really turn us much. Now we're just checking to see if it did come off the edge. Now, if it did come off the edge, then he's out caught behind Pujara. But if it didn't, then stumping's in the game. Let's have a look. Nothing on the ultra edge as the ball meets the bat. It's a flat lie. So definitely up for the stumping. Alex Carey's done an okay job. Let's have a look. The foot's grounded. It's grounded. As the bails are removed, or lit up in this case, because the sing bails are in operation. So that would be not out. A good delivery from Lyon, though, but not out. Nick says, didn't I not say no runouts either? What in the name of Rahane and Moeen is happening here? Yeah, that happens to the best of us, where we have runouts and mix-ups. We've all been there. Anyone who's played the game, being involved in a runout's the worst feeling. Pujara advances down the wicket. This one wide of Hanscom at short leg, nearly a catching opportunity, but it's a dot ball in the end. Good bowling from Lyon. Pujara willing to use his feet, bat and pad close together, nearly to Peter Hanscom. But in the end, it wasn't an opportunity. Very wide of him. Lyon in. Pujara advances down the wicket. Can't beat mid-wicket. There's a fumble, Renshaw. In the end, they were looking for a single. They don't need another run out. Kohli says, no, stay at your end there, Pujara. We don't need another run out. And in the end, it's a dot ball. Now, Australia have got the leg side very protected. And just looking to slow the runs down a bit if they can. Line in. This one on the pads for Pujara. He works it around the corner to short fine leg Pujara, and there's no run. It's the end of the over. It is a maiden. It's a good over from Australia. Something to smile about. It's 8 overs done in the book. It's 2 for 39. 2 for 39. And we pretty much know where this game's going to. But if Australia can pick up a few wickets, that could boost their confidence for the next test, which would be an indoor. The next test, the third test of the series, was meant to be played at Dharamshala. Unfortunately, that has been moved to indoor for the third test. So you never know. A change of venue may help Australia from the original venue that was scheduled. But anyway, the ground in Dharamshala wasn't really up to standard. There were a few problems. I think the outfield was being relayed and was not up to scratch. So that's understandable. You've got to get these things right. Nice crowd in Delhi, watching India doing well. Kuhnemann in to Kohli, who does what he does best. He gets off the mark. Fumble by Cummins, but there was a fielder to back up his fumble. In the end, it only cost 1 run. Pujara on strike. He's on 7. Kohli's off the mark. It's 2 for 40. India needs 75 runs to win. Kuhnemann, he's done okay on debut. Kuhnemann got the wicket of Kohli. And he got the wicket of Carey, and that was controversial in itself. But anyway, that's just the way it's gone. Anyway, there's nothing we can do to change that decision. At the end of the day, the decision was given, and we just have to move on from that. But no doubt there'll be a lot of discussion. Single from Carey onto the leg side. He's... sorry, that was Pujara. Sorry. Thanks for your comment there, Nick. John says, don't think Australia have ever sacked a captain. They tend to resign, perhaps with a little push. Yeah, not really. Australian captains tend to go on their own terms. And look, I think it's just an overreaction from people. Look, at the end of the day, Pat Cummins is the captain. Yes, he does have a little bit of responsibility. But at the end of the day, all of the Australian players are responsible, not just the captain. They all got to take the blame, and they got to cop the brunt, which you do when you perform badly. That's what you just got to do. Just cop it on the chin and just move on and hope to get better for the next test. And that's what Australia will be hoping now. If they can come out of this series to gain something out of this series, just something, that will be a positive. Win a test. If they can win a test match, if they can win a test or two, someone gets a century, someone gets a good performance here and there, that's something to take out of this very difficult tour thus far for them. But you can always take some positives despite a negative outcome. But Jihan says, batting collapse, hopefully. Oh, maybe. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the final time as we live stream for the last time on the podcast for good. I'm stepping away from live streaming, and thank you, everyone, for the kind support on this announcement that I've made. And thank you so much. It wasn't a decision I took lightly, but it is a decision that I made purely based on the interest of myself and really not enjoying them anymore. Just sitting here for hours on hours and, not really enjoying it as I once did. It's the end of the over. It's 2:42 and 3 runs off the last over. India need every 3 more runs to win. India 2:42 after 9. But thanks everyone for joining us for the comments today. With this last final live stream, and thank you so much, everyone. But a reminder to everyone: we're not going anywhere. The podcast will still be in its current form, but we're not going to be doing live streams anymore. So, hard decision to make, but for me personally, it's probably the right decision. Not really enjoying them anymore, not really having fun, like I used to, and I've definitely noticed that. So, I think it was someone who once said, "If you know when the right time is to retire from any sport, but also in cricket, you know when the right time is to retire. You know when that decision has to come, and only yourself will make that decision." And in this case with live streaming, I've made that decision. So I'm pretty happy with that decision that I've made. It's going to be Nathan Lyon to continue. He's going to be bowling a right arm around the wicket to Kohli, the right-hander. Looking to angle the ball across and spin it back in if he can. He's in now to Carey, who whips this outside off stump. Carey plays that shot a lot, whips it outside off stump with a flick of the wrist. Down to wide, long on for a single. Matt Kuderman in his baggy green. Not a pleasant debut for him, but at least he got a wicket of Carey. And that's definitely a big wicket for him in his test career. So obviously not the same start as Todd Murphy, who took 7 wickets in the last test. But anyway, that's just the way it goes in cricket. Line in. Pujara advances down the wicket. There's an appeal for court. Maybe a bit of bat and pad onto the glove as it ballooned up. But Michael Goff nods his head and says, "Not out, gentlemen." And the players return to their positions. Pujara taps the pitch down, saying, "No, I didn't really hit that. Let's have a look. Just the pad." So there was an appeal for court. Also an appeal for LBW, but it was outside the line. He was playing a shot. Line in to Pujara. This one defended onto the leg side for no run. And there is a dot ball for Australia. Something to smile about. Line in again. This one to Pujara. And Pujara takes on Lyon with a big shot onto the leg side. It's running away to the boundary for 4. 4 runs. Pujara, good use of the feet. Advancing down the wicket, dispatching Nathan Lyon over the leg side through mid-wicket to the deep mid-wicket boundary for 4 runs. Australia, the end is nigh. This test match is soon to come to a close. It's going to be Lyon into Pujara, and Pujara defends onto the leg side. There is no run. And this one defended again by Pujara for no run. It's the end of the over. After 10 overs, it's 2 for 47. After 10, India need a further 68 runs required to win. Australia need 8 wickets. Already taken 2 of the 10. 8 more for them to win. Australia need wickets to fall at a regular interval, like in their innings. But India resolute, very strong. They want a 2-0 series lead to really cement their authority in this series. Virat Kohli on strike. Todd Murphy in for the first time today. And he'll be hoping to get rid of Virat Kohli again. Todd Murphy did get Kohli out in the first test. First ball after lunch on day 2 of the second session. Got him caught down the leg side. So Todd Murphy will be hoping to get him again. And certainly for Australia, that will be the case. Todd Murphy, good start to his career. 2 wickets, average of 19. Strike rate of 43. Best of 7 for 124, which he picked up in the last test on debut. And he'll be hoping to contribute, get a wicket here if he can. So here we go. It's going to be Murphy into Kohli. And this one on leg stump, and Kohli works it through the leg side for a couple of runs. Running away to the deep square leg boundary for a couple. Travis Head does the fielding. He throws the ball back to Carey. And India pick up 2 more. 2 more runs taken away off the deficit. 66 required. Nicely done by Carey. This one was worked behind square on the leg side. And he did it such with ease. He looked comfortable in the first innings. He's looking good here. He defends solidly on the front foot from Murphy. Virat Kohli in the zone. He'll be very determined, Kohli, after what happened in the first innings with the controversial LBW decision. He'll be very determined to score these winning runs for India. Murphy in again to Kohli, who works it onto the leg side down to Matt Renshaw at wide long on. John, thanks for your comment. You say, problem with commentating on cricket is there's a lot of blank space to fill in between balls and overs when nothing is happening on field. Can't be easy. No, it's not, John. It's not easy. So you need something to talk about, especially if you're doing it by yourself. It's always good if you have someone else to, do that. Often in radio commentary, you often have a summarizer. Who often summarizes events that have happened in the game, or mainly you just talk about a different topic. Commentary is all about creating stories and narratives, especially in cricket commentary. So what Australia are trying to do, how they're trying to get a wicket here. What are the Indian batsmen trying to do? So there's plenty of stories and narratives to be created. It's how you put them into words, and for the viewer or the listener to picture that is up to them. But it's not easy. But, it's something that you need to master. Murphy in again to Pujara, who defends nicely. Back to Murphy for a dot. 2 for 50 for India. They need a further 65 runs to win. They pretty much got this game sorted. In the bag, you would say. No. Well, if we had Carey O'Keefe, he could tell us the frog jokes. Very funny, of course, Carey O'Keefe. Murphy in again. Pujara defends this on the offside behind square for no run. And that's the end of the 11th over. It's 2 for 50. And after 11. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Make sure you get your comments and questions in. We'll do a little bit more of the second session. We're not going to do all of it. I'm pretty much spent. And pretty much going to bring it to an end. But if you have your comments, your questions, please do get them in, because this is your last opportunity to do that. As I mentioned before, this is the last time we're live streaming on the podcast for good. And if you got any more questions and comments before we wrap up, please send them in. I'd be happy to answer them. For the final time, it's going to be Nathan Lyon to continue. Curly's on 6, 50 or 65 runs required for Australia to win. And Nathan Lyon around the wicket to Curly. Over the wicket now to Curly, who advances down the wicket. And he dispatches this to the long-on boundary for 4. Virat Kohli on a mission. He wants to end this quickly. He moves on to 10. The end is nigh for Australia. They need 61 runs to win. India to take a 2-0 series lead. John says, his worst joke this season was, I'm going to buy you a termite and call it Clint Eastwood. Yes, I did hear that one. This one defended by Curly to the offside for a dot ball. We may do another couple of overs. And Virat Kohli's just ticked over 25,000 international runs in all forms of cricket, which is quite an impressive record. He's got 10,000 runs in one-day cricket. He's got 8,000 in tests and well over 3,000 in T20 internationals. He works this onto the leg side for a single. He moves on to 11. Pujara now on strike. He's 12 of 35. India needs 60 to win, so we're getting them down. Now, Lani says, normally this pitch gets slower, so less wickets fall, but this was weird. Yeah, well, you never know how a pitch is going to play in cricket. It's unpredictable. It's one of the most unpredictable variables in the game of cricket. You never know how a pitch is going to play. And that's just the beauty of cricket. As this one's on leg stump, this delivery by Lyon. Pujara works it to the fielder behind Square on the leg side for a dot ball. India still 2 for 55. They need 60 runs to win. Thank you for the comment, Alani. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll be here for another couple of overs before I will have to wrap up for the final time. I hope everyone's had some fun today. And I hope everyone's had some fun over these live streams and watch-alongs. I really do appreciate the support. But I have made the decision to stop from this day forward. But as the old saying goes, you never say never. But for me, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having fun as I used to. That's the decision I've made today. So thank you, everyone. We'll be here for another over or two after Nathan Lyon completes this 12th over. And he will be bowling to Curly, who will be on strike. Here we go. Nathan Lyon in to Curly. He's changed his angle of approach. Going to be bowling right arm around the wicket for this last ball. Traps Curly on the pads. Curly looked to work it onto the leg side. Trapped him on the pads. There was an appeal for LBW, but probably pitched outside leg. And in the end, no damage is done. It's the end of the over. Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, well, pitched in line, but I think Virat Kohli got a bit of bat on that. He did. There was an inside edge deflection onto that front pad. So a bit of bat involved there. So I don't think we need the third umpire for that. Very conclusive that came off the bat of Virat Kohli. End of the over. It's 2:56 after 12. And India closing in on victory. Slowly, but they'll be hoping to tick over these runs and get over the line. Thanks, everyone. So we've got another couple of overs left before I have to go and end today's stream. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us as always. It's going to be Murphy again to continue to Pujara, who defends this outside edge, racing down to third man for a couple of runs at least. It's not going to quite get to the boundary. They'll pick up 2. Pujara moves on to 15. It's 2 for 58 for India. And Australia just need 8 wickets. India need 57 to win. Also a reminder for everyone as well that we did interview our special guest. I'll get back to that. As Murphy bowls to Jarrett, works it onto the leg side for a single. Our special guest, we interviewed him yesterday. In fact, I had a wonderful chat with our guest yesterday for over a couple of hours, just talking about his book. He's a former cricket umpire who umpired league crickets in Kent and also Premier Cricket in Victoria. He wrote a book about his experiences, and we talked about that in our chat. And he's an author of other books as well. It was a wonderful chat that I had with our guest. And that episode's coming out very shortly. Defended again by Kohli, this time onto the leg side. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you don't miss out on that when it comes out. But it was great fun speaking to our guest that we had on, that I spoke to yesterday. And that episode's coming out very soon. Murphy into Carey. This one defended to short leg. And there's no run. John says, I wouldn't say slowly. India are going at 4.5 runs per over. Are they just ticking along nicely, are they, John? Looks like fast forward mode with the run rate, but, just picking up the twos and the singles. It looks comfortable. Now then, Murphy beats Kohli past his outside edge. There's an appeal for caught behind. There's some discussion about a possible DRS. Australia decide not to review it. Cummins said no. The captain making his decision. It could be a caught behind, maybe a stumping as well. Carey took off the bails as he does as a keeper. But 56 runs for India to win. Kohli survives that appeal. Thanks for your comment, John. But India definitely looking comfortable. Murphy into Kohli. This one a leading edge. Goes out to Cummins at mid-off, and there's no run. That's the end of the over. End of the 13th. It's 2:59. Thanks everyone for joining us. This will be our last over before we will end our watch-alongs and live streams on the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for the last time on the podcast. This is the last over that we will do on a watch-along or live stream. And it's going to be Nathan Lyon to continue to Kohli. He's got 1 for 25. He'll be on strike. Sorry, Kohli won't be on strike. He's at the non-strikers end. There will be Pujara on strike. 56 runs to win. And what can Nathan Lyon do? Can he pick up a wicket in our last over? What can he do? Here we go. Lyon's in now. Past the umpire. And Pujara defends on the front foot. And there's no run. John says that's how to play. Work the ball around. We were looking for the boundary too often. That's right, John. I can understand why Australia were over-aggressive because they wanted to play shots and score runs at a good rate. If they just sat back and defended, they would have got out. So I can understand that mindset, but they didn't quite execute it at times. Line into Pujara. This one defended, and there's no run. Come on, Nathan Lyon. Pick up a wicket in our last over here. And India need 56 runs to win this test match in Delhi at the Fisher Kotla, now known as the Arun Jaitley Stadium. Line in now to Pujara. This one defended again on the front foot from Pujara. And there is no run. That's standing tall there, Pujara, looking comfortable. He's an experienced player. 100th test match for him in his test career. Well-deserved. Not easy to play 100 tests. The Australian supporters looking not happy. Line in. This one outside of stump. He drives straight to Cummins at mid-off Pujara. Looking for a quick single, but he hit it too well. And there is a dot ball. 2 balls left of Nathan Lyon's over. before we are going to sign out for the final time. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Here we go. Lyon in now to Pujara. That one on leg stump. Pujara works it around the corner, down to fine leg. Kuhnemann cuts it off for a single. The score now 2 for 60 for India. They need 55 runs for victory. And Australia, this test match is slowly coming to its conclusion. And a lot will be talked about after this test match. A lot of scrutiny, a lot of people not going to be happy. But at the end of the day, it's just a game of cricket. Lyon in to Kohli. This one outside leg stump again. And Kohli gets it down to the fine leg boundary for 4. It's 4 runs signalled by the umpire. That's the end of the over. 14 overs are done. India are 2 for 64. They need 51 runs to win. And that will do us for today and for this live stream. Well, there we go. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And thank you so much for joining us for the final time on live streams and watch-alongs on the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been great fun. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. I hope everyone's got a smile on their face from listening to me talk cricket. That's what we try and do at the podcast. We try and make it fun and happy for people. So I hope everyone has had a great experience with our watch-alongs and live streams. I've really enjoyed them. It was a tough decision to make. I would have liked to do more. But at the end of the day, when you lose that little bit of fire or passion and you're not having fun, it's time to probably give it up or do something else. So thank you, everyone who's joined us. I really appreciate it immensely. And thank you for joining us, everyone. And I really enjoyed everyone watching our live streams and watch-alongs. I really do. Thank you for the support. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for offering your views on the game. Thank you for asking me questions. I hope I answered them to the best of your ability, to my ability, and I hope you got the answers that you wanted. And I hope you enjoyed them. I really do. I hope they put a smile on your face. I hope you had fun. We try and do that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it is what it is. The old saying goes, you never know. We may come back, but we may not. So potentially for the last time. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And yeah, it's been great. It's been great fun, everyone. It's not a light decision that I've made. It's a hard decision. I can see why people are a bit shocked or disappointed in a way. I hope this decision doesn't disappoint everyone. But for me, I'm just not enjoying them as I once did. And, we'll still have some fun. Look, despite this sad news, and as I mentioned throughout this stream, despite us not doing live streams anymore, you can still watch the episodes. You can still listen to me talk cricket and offer my thoughts on definitely the second test match for the review that we are going to do. It's going to be a tough one to do. But, we can still have fun in many ways. But doing the watch-alongs and all that stuff has been great fun. And thank you for people who have tuned in. And thank you for all the kind words and messages. It's been great having fun with all of you. If you have any more comments, I'll be happy to answer them, and we do. And I'll be happy to answer them before we wrap up for the final time. Shumer Pash, thanks for commenting. The question you asked me, the third test team. Now, if you're talking about Australia, then probably changes will be made by the Australian team. Probably Mitchell Starc and Cameron Green could come back. David Warner's in doubt with concussion, and also he's fractured his elbow. Also, does Matt Renshaw keep his spot? He'll probably be out for head. Do Australia pick 3 spinners or 2 spinners? So it depends on their combinations for the next test. For India, I think India will keep the same team. I don't think they'll change their team throughout this series. They don't need to. The team that they have is well balanced, it's strong. This is the best combination and team for them in these conditions. So they'll keep the same team. I think Australia will make changes. So I hope that's answered your question, Sumer. And thank you so much for commenting. Alani, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the watch-alongs and live streams as well. Thank you so much. And thank you for commenting. John, thank you. You said it's a pleasure. Look forward to your other content. I shall continue watching the death throes and silently sob into my beer. John, I feel your pain. Well, we've all been there, watching cricket and seeing our team being, losing in the way they are. So, yeah. But thank you, John. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the kind words as well from you. And thank you for joining us and giving that support. And certainly after this, I won't be watching the last rites in this test match because I think we pretty much know where it's going to go. But, anyway, that's the way it goes. It's cricket. Rohit, you say, you are brilliant. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you for those kind words. I hope you enjoyed the watch-alongs and live streams as well. Thank you so much. But I have decided to stop and just focus on other things with the podcast rather than doing these streams. It's been great fun, but I thought the time was right just to step away and focus on other things with the podcast. And we can still have fun, as always, despite not live streaming anymore. But thank you for the kind words there, Rohit. I really appreciate that. And I hope you have a very good day, and I hope you are happy and excited that India are on track for another win in this series. Shamer says, you will keep Rahul. Well, they'll most likely probably will. If they want to make a change, they will, India. But I don't think they need to make too many changes for the sake of it. If they feel like they need to change and get rid of Rahul, then they'll do that and bring in Shubman Gill, you would think. But I think they'll keep the same team. They made one change heading into this test match. Sky was left out for Iyer, which is understandable, obviously, because he was in the 11 before Sky, and he's the incumbent. So it's understandable. But if they feel like, Rahul's struggling a bit, which he is, he's under pressure. He got out cheaply today, and also in the first innings. So you would think that probably they will make a change in that regard. But we should wait and see what the Indian selectors do. But, usually the case, if the team's winning and one person is struggling with the bat or with the ball, then you can be prepared to pick that player and stick with him in the 11, as long as the team's winning and doing well. When the team's not doing well and not winning, then you will probably make a change eventually. So I think they'll keep the same team. No need to change anything. It's a pretty strong team that India have. So they don't need to change anything, really. I hope that's answered your question, Samir. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we will still be covering the rest of the test series with India and Australia. We're going to be doing match reviews, and we're going to be talking about the series and talking about each test match and how that went. So we're not going to stop covering the series just because we're not doing watch-alongs and live streams anymore. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, the kind words, and thank you so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it, and I hope I made your day very happy and feeling good, talking cricket and just having some fun. So thank you so much, everyone. For the last and final time, I will say this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. Podcast is available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. So make sure you do all of those good things. Make sure you click the bell, subscribe to the channel. It really does help. Make sure you do all those good things. Any final comments before we sign out for the final time? I'll give people the opportunity to do that as we sign out for the final time. Any questions or comments? I'll be happy to answer them. And India cruising along at 2 for 69. They're cruising along to this victory target of 115 runs. And they will win this test match and probably go 2-0 up in the series, which is the most likely result. But any final questions, comments, everyone, before we end today? Really appreciate everyone support as always. Shamir says Pat Cummins. Well, I don't think Pat Cummins will be dropped. He's captain, so I don't think he's going to drop himself. So he's probably going to be in the team still. But Australia will probably make other changes as well, I would think. So, yeah. Thank you, John. Ciao as well for now. But we will be back in some sort of capacity with the episodes of the podcasts, me interviewing guests, and me being on other channels around the YouTube cricketing world as well. If I get asked to go on to other channels as well, you may see me there. But thank you, everyone. Thank you, John. Hope you have a good day. I hope you're not too depressed about Australia at the moment, but nonetheless, hope they bounce back in the next test for the third test. You know, hasn't gone to plan, which happens. And, it's only a game of cricket at the end of the day, isn't it? Not the be-all, end-all. If Australia lose a test in India, not the end of the world. So it's only a game of cricket at the end of the day, cricket. But thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I hope everyone's enjoyed the live streams and watch-alongs. Thank you so much. For those who are watching the podcast in terms of our episodes and videos, we're going to be posting reviews of the test series, of the test matches between India and Australia. We're still going to be doing that. So make sure you look out for our special guest that we interviewed, that I had the pleasure of interviewing yesterday. He will be that episode that I had with our special guest. He was a former cricket umpire who umpired in league cricket in Kent and also Premier Cricket in Australia. That episode's going to come out very shortly. It was a great interview. It was a great chat with our person who I invited on to chat on the podcast. It was great fun, and I can't wait for everyone to watch that episode. Also, he's written a book about his experiences, and we talked about that in both countries. And he's also an author, and he's written other books as well, besides the book he's written about his umpiring experiences. So that episode's going to come out in due course, and I hope everyone will enjoy that. I certainly enjoyed interviewing our guest, and it was a great chat that I had with him yesterday. Bharat, thank you. You say good evening. Good evening, or good afternoon to you, Bharat, over there in India. You said, I hope the interview went well for your podcast yesterday. Yes, it did, Bharat. It did. It went...
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
Sorry about that, everyone. My phone going off again. Siri having a mind of its own. This is the wonders of live streaming. The unpredictables happening. Sorry about that, everyone. Back to your comment.
No need to apologize.
Sorry about that, everyone. My phone's having a mind of its own. As I said, live streaming. The unexpected happens. But thank you, Bharat, for those kind words. And yes, it did really went well. It's a great interview that I did. I really enjoyed speaking with our special guest. So hopefully you can watch the episode when it comes out, Bharat, and tell me all about it in the comments if you enjoyed it, which I think many people will. I think you'll get a laugh from it. You'll have fun. It's funny. It's a great discussion about his book and cricket and umpiring, which is in the spotlight all the time in cricket. A few people having discussions about that yesterday with what happened with Kohli. But no, it was a great chat. So Really looking forward to getting that out. And also, thank you, Bharat. You said all the best for the future endeavours. Pleasure hearing into your commentaries. Cheers. Thank you, Bharat. Really appreciate those kind words. Thank you so much. And I hope all the best for you as well in your future endeavours. But thank you for the kind words, Bharat. 46 for India to win. We're just answering the final comments before I have to go for the last time, but live streaming on the podcast. But giving everyone an opportunity to get their comments in. If you want to get some in, I'll be happy to answer them. Bharat, you said, who do you think Green and Stark will replace for the third test? Renshaw and Murphy, Kuhnemann, perhaps? I think so. I think Australia just need once they get Stark and Green back, if they get Cameron Green back, it will definitely improve the balance of the bowling attack. In this test match, they played 3 spinners and 1 quick in Cummins. So I think they were lacking another quick to blast out the Indian tail. Because as we saw in the first test, as we saw yesterday, Australia struggled to get rid of the last few wickets of the tail end for India. Now, obviously, in the end, if India go on to win this game, which they should thank Axel Patel and Ashwin for that 8th wicket partnership of 100 runs. Australia had an opportunity to break that, but they couldn't. So I think if they have Green in the side, it would definitely improve the balance. I think if they have Stark as well, depends on conditions in indoor, which is the third test. They're not playing at Dharamshala. That's been moved to indoor for this third test of the series. So, it'd be interesting to see what they do for selection. But it depends. If they think 3 spinners is a good attack for them to take wickets, then go with that. If you think it's not and we need another quick, then go with that option. I think Australia need another seamer, I think, just to add that difference there. I think Mitchell Stark with his left arm and swinging it both ways and being quick, I think that could help Australia to knock over the Indian tail quickly. But that's something for them to consider, Bharat, absolutely. I wouldn't discount any changes. They're going to go and lose this test match by probably 8 or 7 wickets or something like that. So anyway. I hope that's answered your question, Bharat. But also thank you for your kind words as well. And thank you for supporting the podcast as always. But I hope that's answered your question. Robert says, David Warner dropped the third test. Most likely he will probably miss out. He won't be dropped basically with his form. He'll be probably left out of the test when he doesn't pass his concussion test. And as we speak, Virat Kohli's out stumped. A wonderful piece of keeping from Carey. And Todd Murphy's got Virat Kohli out for the second time in this series. Well done, Todd Murphy. At least something for Australia to smile about. Kohli advancing down the wicket. This delivery beaten past his outside edge. Down the wicket to get to the pitch of the ball. Way out of his ground. And Carey took an easy stumping. So Virat Kohli's got to go. He's gone for 23 for 69. India still in the dominant position of chasing these runs down. But if Australia can pick up a few wickets, they can cause a few problems for India and make it a little bit difficult for India to win this test. And the players would take drinks. So, going back to David Warner, he will probably miss out because of concussion, and he has got a fracture in his elbow, but he'll probably miss out with concussion, I think. And, that's the thing there. So be interesting to see what happens there with David Warner. If he's fit in terms of concussion protocols and he's passed the test, he will definitely play. If not, he will be left out and probably Travis Head may open the batting, as we saw in this second test, in this second innings. Dr. Jihan, thank you for your comments, as always. He said, this test has an uncanny resemblance to the Australia-India Delhi test in 2013. Nathan Lyon, big haul, first innings, parity on the first innings, then the predictable Australia third innings batting collapse. This is a Gian chased down easily by India. Gian says, which makes me ask, what have they learned in 10 years? Well, number one, Jihan, it's a different team to what it was in 2013. Nathan Lyon's a part of that team. I'm just trying to think, was Steve Smith a part of that team as well? Mitchell Starc was, I know that. He got a Test 99 in Mohali in that series and nearly got a century. Just trying to think who other... David Warner was there, of course. It was definitely a different team to what they have now. So, it just shows that Australia need to do more in these conditions in terms of sending A tours or Australian A teams to play India A. I think if you are going to get better in these conditions, you probably need to do that more and more because no tour matches are happening now these days. So, well, go back to your question there, Gian. It's 10 years ago. So, different team, different situation, different series, different everything. India was a different team as well. But, obviously it just shows that Australia do struggle in these conditions, and it's not a surprise, even 10 years ago, as you remark there with that test match. Let's say, Gian, India had Jadeja and Ashwin ripping through the Aussie batting back then too. Yeah. So they wouldn't have remembered that test match anyway, I don't think. It happened 10 years ago. So, anyway, that's just the way it goes. India on track to chase down these runs. Virat Kohli was stumped wonderfully. Splendid stumping by Carey. And a wicket for Todd Murphy. Got him out for the second time in this series. Virat Kohli, Todd Murphy, which is pretty good from the youngster. And good to see him getting some wickets. At least that's a positive for Australia in this tour. It's been a very difficult tour nonetheless. But thank you for the comment there, Jihan. But it just shows that Australia have struggled even 10 years ago until now. They still struggle. They still have the same problems. It's not a surprise. But anyway, alrighty then. The second session is still in progress. India making good headway. They lost the wicket of Kohli, though, but I don't think that should matter. They're 3 for 70, so they only need 45 runs to win. Definitely this test match is going to finish in this second session. We don't need the last session of the day, and we certainly don't need the extra 2 days up our sleeve. And obviously for the second test match in a row, it's going to end in 3 days, which, as they say, a good game's a quick game, as they say. Road says 10 wickets challenge, Ashwin and Jadeja. Yeah, well, they definitely did well in this test match. And certainly a 10-wicket haul for them. I'm pretty sure they've got a few 10-wicket hauls in their careers, but they bowled pretty well. Gian said, just looked at that scorecard. Australia have 3 players remaining from that test. India have 4. Yeah. So who were the 3, Jihan? I'm just trying to guess off the top of my head. Nathan Lyon's definitely one. David Warner is probably another one. So who's the third one? I think probably Mitchell Starc, maybe. Or was he dropped for that test? Let me know, Jihan, if I was correct. I think from the top of my head, I'm just going to have a guess. David Warner, maybe? Nathan Lyon, of course. He was the third one. It's either going to be Steve. Yeah, I thought it was Steve Smith. Yeah, thank you, Jihan. Yeah, Smith, Lyon, and Warner. Yeah. Okay, so Mitchell Starc didn't play that test. He probably got dropped. Well, thank you for that, Jihan. Yeah. So, in India, had Ashwin, Jadeja, Pujara, and Kohli. Yeah. And they are playing in this test match 10 years later. So, yeah, you would think Australia would have learnt the lessons from past experiences, but it just comes down to, Australia just struggling in these conditions. Australia have only won 4 times in India. And, if anyone watched our historical series, we've been talking about Australia's Test series wins in India. We've already done part 1 and part 2, covering 1956 and 1959. And talking about those series was very interesting. Australia had a lot of challenges. So if you haven't watched those episodes, please do. Also, part 3 is going to be coming out shortly, and then part 4 after that. So part 3, the next one that we're going to do, looks back at a very difficult tour. That tour, it involves some riots, and the Australian team won that series, but it involved some riots, and it was a very difficult tour for Australia, but they were able to win. So that's going to be an interesting series to look back on. And then the next one after that, part 4, is 2004. And that's the last time Australia won in India. So if you haven't checked out those episodes for a historical series, please do. And tell me what you think. Tell me what you learned or what you didn't know. Because that's the whole thing about this historical series, is about educating people on what happened in those series and the history of the game, of course. Very different game back in those days. As India continue just to mountain on the run, so we can just have a discussion a little bit here for people who want to send in their comments. Please do, because this is the last time that I'll be doing this. So please send them through. I'll give people an opportunity to do that. I'm not just going to end quickly. I'm just going to give people an opportunity to ask me questions so I can answer them. Thank you for your question here, Gian. Do you think it's come time to set the players' homework? Will that help? Well, obviously, you're referring to what happened in 2013 with homework gate. I don't think it will help, Gian, I don't think. I think Australia's past that stage of giving players homework. Look, at the end of the day, Australia just need to learn from their experiences. They just need to learn how to play in these conditions. I think from learning in these 2 test matches to now, this series is probably, India will probably win this series. Obviously, the momentum's with India now. I think Australia, even if they don't win in India, there's still the Ashes and WTC ahead. So I think after this series, we'll quickly turn our attention and focus on the Ashes and the WTC final. But before Australia do that, they need to focus on the last 2 tests and make sure they don't lose this series by a big margin. Now, they lost a series in India 4-0. That was back in 2013, and that wasn't pleasant. They don't want that to happen again. So what are they going to do about it? Well, try and learn and improve and be competitive. Not going to be easy, though. It hasn't been an easy challenge for them on this tour, but things have just not gone their way. Anyway, India chasing the runs down easily. Look, they only need 39 runs to win, so really nothing much to speak of the game. Australia picked up a wicket or 2. They picked up Curly just before. We'll get through the comments, everyone. A reminder for everyone, get your comments in. This is the last time we're going to be doing a watch-along on the podcast. For those who were here earlier, I've made a decision, and my decision is not to continue with the watch-alongs for the podcast. I feel like I'm not really enjoying them as much, and I just want to, probably do something else with the podcast going forward. So I'm not going to go anywhere with the podcast. That's still going to be around, but we're not just going to be doing the live streams anymore. So get your comments in, everyone. Get them in. The game's nearly done. 39 runs for India. So we might as well just stick around. I'm not going to commentate, but there's nothing much to talk about, really. It's pretty much one-way traffic because India pretty much on track to win this match. So anyway, we'll get through the comments and any questions you may have, and then we'll wrap it up if this game gets wrapped up quickly, which you think it should in this second session. Stephen says about Jihan's comment about the homework situation. He said they are cricketers. They were allergic to school and homework. No one really does want to do homework when you're in school, obviously. Not many people want to do it. And on that occasion, some Australian players didn't want to do the homework that was set by Mickey Arthur, but that was not a good period in Australian cricket. John says, I feel Australia is still judged and focused on Ashes performances. Despite all the talk, they go to India with fear and loathing. They want to win, but in their hearts, not so sure. Yeah, it comes down to belief, John. I think it comes down to belief. Can we actually win in these conditions? It just comes down to self-belief, bit of self-doubt. And Australia's not the only team to lose the way they are losing. All teams that come to India lose this way. India are just strong at home, and you expect that. They're a very good side at home. They're very tough to beat. So, for Australia, this was the ultimate for some players in this Australian side, like Smith, Warner, and others. And obviously, they're not going to have that opportunity to win a series in India because probably when the next tour comes around, they're probably just going to be too old and probably at the end of their career. So, yeah, disappointing, but oh well, that's just the way it goes. Jihan says they probably need after-school detention. Well, a few players did get suspended in that situation in 2013. Rowett says, I should say, why Australian players play the sweep shot so much. That's their go-to plan, Rowett. That's their go-to shot in these conditions. That's their go-to plan. They play the sweep. They feel like if they sweep, that's one of their methods to combat India's spinners. Either play the reverse paddle or lap or reverse sweep. That's just for them to try and get through the spinners, and that's their method and game plan, which hasn't worked sometimes for Australia. So anyway, that's the go-to shot. 28 runs for India to win. It's slowly coming to an end, this test. Slowly coming to an end, and India probably going to win this test by 7 wickets or probably 6. You never know. A wicket may fall. For Australia, very tough test match again, but they'll have to do a lot of soul searching and a lot of reflection. Stephen, you say, I think the way a few of them batted in the second innings suggests a few of them were after an IPL contract. Now, it wasn't a great batting performance, but I could understand why Australia did that. That was their game plan, to be positive and aggressive, because, being defensive and looking to survive hasn't really worked out, hasn't it? So you have to be aggressive and, be attacking, but not reckless. Do it in a smart, controlled manner. And they haven't done that, Australia. I can understand the thinking and the logic, but they didn't quite execute it. And we saw that today. And once one wicket fell, you knew what was going to happen, and a batting collapse was inevitable. And that's what happened. Most of them do have IPL contracts. And will definitely be playing in the IPL, which starts next month, actually. So it's next month for the IPL, which is, coming around very quickly, isn't it? And also the women's IPL is on this year as well, which is great for the women's game, seeing the women, female cricketers getting an opportunity to play this Premier T20 competition. Will do wonders for the women's game, that's for sure. Baraf, you say, what's been my favourite moment of all the watch-alongs I've done so far? I can't really pick a moment, Barat. There's so many wonderful moments. We've seen some good cricket. We've seen some bad cricket. We've seen some close games. We've seen some good moments. We've had bad moments. And, Australia picked up another wicket here. 4 for 88. Shreyas Iyer is gone. He hit it straight up in the air. And 27 for India to win, though. They got 6 wickets in hand. So Australia, consolation prize for Nathan Lyon, this second wicket. He's bowled well this test match, Nathan Lyon. Really stood up, but unfortunately won't be to a win. Shreyas Iyer just picking out the fielder at the square leg boundary on the leg side. And that was an easy catch. I believe Todd Murphy or Matt Kuhneman. No, it was Todd Murphy who took the catch. Good catch from Murphy. Iyer gone for 12. That's 4 for 88. So I can't really pick a moment, Bharat. All of them were different in some way. But I think the main constant I take out of them is probably having fun and enjoying interacting with all of you. because a lot of you are passionate cricket lovers and watchers of the game, and you all have your views and you have questions to ask, and it's always been great fun answering those. So probably I have to pick that, I think, Bharat. I hope that's answered your question, but thank you for that question. Can't really pick a specific moment. That's my favorite, but I think all of them, just doing them, I think, have been special. But anyway, they've all been different in some way. Gian says, also comes down to not being ruthless enough. You could say Khawaja gave his wicket away first innings, started to collapse. India 139 for 7 and let it slip again. When they were on top, they let India back in. I agree with that, Jihan. I think with the Khawaja one, you would probably say in the second innings he probably gave his wicket away because he didn't need to play that sweep shot. Shreyas Iyer was up close with the helmet as a leg slip or leg gully, and he paddled it straight to him playing the sweep shot. I think in the first innings with Khawaja, I think it was just unlucky that Rahul was just there, which happens, and he picked out the fielder. So, Australia, those key moments not really going Australia's way, the luck, basically. The other point you make there about the tail with India, yes, I agree with that. I was watching it yesterday and not very happy. Australia needed to wrap up the tail as quickly as possible, but they allowed Ashwin and Patel to get a 100-run partnership for the 8th wicket, and they got the deficit down to 1 run. So at least Australia got a lead, but it was not enough. It was only 1 run. And that's where they let this test match slip. And you gotta capitalize on those key moments in India. If you're on top, and if you've got India 7 down for not many, you got a lead of 50 runs or more. You got to take it with both hands. Unfortunately, Australia weren't good enough to seize the opportunity, and that's what's happened, I'm afraid. You have to say, Jihan, because at times in this match, India were looking very worried. Yeah, they were. I did notice that the top order from India, the middle order was a little bit shaky. They were a little bit tentative, a little bit nervous on this pitch. And the only ones who weren't were the tail enders. Patel and Ashwin and Jadeja were calm and collected. So they didn't seize on that initiative, Australia, which that's why they lost this test match the way they did, or are going to lose this test match, I should say, and the way they are going to lose Australia. But they've only got themselves to blame. They've got themselves to blame in the way they played. And look, at the end of the day, it's a game of cricket. You win or lose, so be it. But they didn't seize that opportunity, I'm afraid. And John says our batters lack confidence and ability in their footwork. I'd rather see them coming forward. If they get beaten on the outside, so be it. Yeah, got to use the feet. You can't be just planted in the crease like cement. You got to use your feet. You got to get forward. You got to get back. You got to get down to the pitch of the ball, smother the turn and smother the spin. Fortunately, Australia have just not done that. They haven't backed themselves enough in that department. It just comes down to their lack of confidence and lack of belief. But we saw a little bit of that in this test match. They did use their feet at times, and they did score at a good run rate, but they lost wickets at the wrong time, and that's what cost them. So, yeah, very disappointing. And no doubt the Australian batting group will have a conversation about that. And I think they should, because nothing else has gone right in this match. But thank you for that, John. Jihan says, I think they struggle to use their feet, especially against Jadeja, because he doesn't give it much out. No. Yeah, Jadeja's sort of a flat bowler. Sort of doesn't really loop the ball up in the air and give it flight. He's more, dart it in, try and get into the pads and hope it turns and goes straight on. And he's done that well. That's his greatest strength as a bowler. And for the Australians, they found him difficult. And that's why he got 7 wickets in the second innings. So it's something that they need to look at, that's for sure, going forward for the remainder of the series. John says least favourite moments would be every match in the last T20 World Cup. I haven't heard you so frustrated. Yeah. Thanks for reminding me about that, John. Yes, those live streams in the T20 World Cup weren't good, especially when Australia were playing. It was a very difficult T20 World Cup. Anyway, thanks for reminding me about that, John. Yeah, I don't really show my emotions all that often, but, on that occasion, a little bit frustrated in the way that Australia played. They didn't really help themselves in that T20 World Cup. But thank you, John. Yes, that will be probably my least favourite moment of all the live streams and watch-alongs we have done. My least favourite. Gian says he bowls round arm darts with a lot of revolutions. Hard to get down to. Yeah, he did. And he's got those wickets. And, he's really bowled well, Jadesh. He's a very crafty bowler. He's a very experienced bowler. He's got 250 test wickets for a reason, because he's good. He's a very good bowler. Jihan says, Khawaja unlucky with the Rahul catch, but hit the ball in the air. You can always be caught. Him and Hanscom were really getting on top of the bowling at that point. Yeah, they were. And for Khawaja, look, looking back at the shot, he probably said, well, maybe I should have hit it to ground. But he wasn't expecting KL Rahul to catch that. At the end of the day, as a batter, if you pick out the fielder and they catch a remarkable catch, you just have to say, oh, well caught, and walk off. But yes, him and Hanscom were looking comfortable, good partnership. And this is the thing with Australia. They lose wickets in clumps, and they don't rebuild partnerships. India do that so well. And unfortunately, that's why Australia are in this position that they find themselves in this series. They're going to be 2-0 down because they haven't done the basics well enough. Stephen says, Khawaja always looking so loose and casual when he gets out. He's all hands. He relies too much on his eye and hands. His feet doesn't really move much. No, that's just the style of player he is. I wouldn't be changing Khawaja and saying you should play in a different way. I wouldn't be saying that to him. I wouldn't be saying that to Khawaja. Just keep being yourself. He's very elegant on the eye. He's a very good player. And we saw that in the first innings. That's just how he plays. He's very laconic. It's like David Gower or Mark Waugh, players who looked relaxed and looked a little bit lazy, but they weren't lazy. That's just how they are as people, their personality, their body language. So, he's definitely played a little bit better against spin Khawaja, but he's still got a lot of improving to do, as you do as a player. You can always look to improve. As I say, Stephen, mentally, they weren't focused. So many got bowled. Just tells me they just weren't concentrating and watching the ball. We were in a winnable position here. Another 50, 70 runs would have been favourites. Yes, I agree with the mentality side there, Stephen. That's a good point that you make. Not a lot of people have been talking about that as India slowly making their way to victory here, but we can continue asking questions. Please do, everyone, because get your opportunities in, because we won't be able to do this much longer on the podcast because I'm stopping. So as we hear, get your questions in. I'll be happy to answer them. As always, going back to your question there, Stephen, yes, mentality is important. Now, a lot of people haven't talked about the mentality side. It's always been about technique, and yes, technique does play a part in Australia's batting demise in this series. Hands down, no questions asked. But it comes down to the mentality. It comes down to what you think, how you're thinking. It comes down if, you're worrying about stuff. And I talked about it in the last review that I did for the first test. I talked about the mentality. Australia worried about something that didn't happen. They worried that the pitch was unplayable, but it wasn't unplayable at Nagpur. But they got themselves out because they had those worries and fears inside their mind. And they just got over-consumed with those worries and fears. It's okay to worry about something as a human being. It's just a natural feeling. It's a natural response. But it can take over It can overtake your mind, and it can play on your mind. And that's what happened in Nagpur. And probably that's what happened here in this second test as well. The mentality with Australia has predominantly been a negative mindset, not a positive mindset. And you still got to be upbeat. You can't just say, right, okay, this series is gone. You still got to hope that, there's still moments that we can come back and do well. But it just comes down to confidence and belief and believing that you can actually win in these conditions. But their mentality at the moment, it's not quite there. And their technique's not there as well. But it's down to the mentality side. If you have a good mentality, good mindset, and I had this discussion with Graham Winter, a sports psychologist who was a former first-class cricketer. He became a sports psychologist in Adelaide. Obviously, he played cricket for South Australia, first-class level. And he talked about that in his book, Mindful Cricket. And he talked about having the right mindset, which could make a difference in your performance. If you have the right mindset, you will perform better. If you don't have a great mindset, your performance will be poor and disappointing. And that's what happened with Australia here. Their performance is very disappointing. So it comes down to the mindset side of things. So I'll put the link to that in the chat so people can watch that episode that I had with Graham. And you can learn more about the mindset side of cricket, which is often unspoken about, the mentality side of cricket, the mental side of the game, because you need great mental skills to be the best you can be and perform at your best. But Australia haven't quite done that in this series. So I'll leave a link to that in the chat for people to watch and learn more from, because it was great talking to Graham about that. John says McDonald should be under the gun. Both head and batting coach, is he not? I'm not sure if he's the batting coach. I'm not sure. I think he's the bowling coach, I think. John, I think Michael Divinito's back in the side, and he's the batting coach, not Andrew McDonald. I think Andrew McDonald's more the bowling coach. So that's how it is in the Australian setup at the moment. So yeah, he is he's the bowling coach, Andrew McDonald. He's also the head coach, but bowling coach. And also Michael Divinito is the batting coach. So no doubt he will be under some pressure, McDonald. But at the end of the day, I think, look, the coach, he's only there to advise the players and guide them. I think at the end of the day, the people who are most under pressure are the players. Now, the coach is not out there in the middle. He can't tell the players how to do it. The players are out there playing it for themselves. They're there playing the game, and they have control of what they do. The coach doesn't. The coach doesn't have that control. So I think at the end of the day, I think it comes down to the players copying the wrath, so to speak. With the media and all the pundits and that. So I think at the end of the day, I think that all the players need to take responsibility with the performance, not just the coach, because he can't do anything. He or she is not out there controlling things. The players are playing the game, and whatever they do on the field, their performance will get scrutinized by everyone. So it's really the players that need to cop that responsibility on the chin. Not so much the coach, really. Jihan says, well, I hope they don't lose confidence completely here. They are still on top of the Indian batting top order. India's top 7 to 10 are bailing them out. They can still bring it back. That's the spirit, Jihan. That's the spirit. Yeah. I think Australia must still believe that we can win a test match in this series. Despite this being a negative test match for them and, losing this test match, obviously India need 10 runs to win. It looks like they're going to lose by 6 wickets here. So at least it's not an innings defeat. So at least they batted over. They got 200 runs in the first innings. They batted a lot of overs, 70-odd overs, more than in Nagpur. I think that's a win. I think that's a positive. The second innings started well, but then capitulated. So there's some signs of improvement. The bowling side of things in this test match, the first innings was very good, but then the tail enders, that situation wasn't good. India got away from him there. So there's definitely some improvements there. They're definitely, the more they play, the more they learn from themselves. They're definitely starting to work things out and putting that into their cricket. So there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of challenges, but they can still bring it back. They can bounce back and win a test if they can, or draw a test. You never know. You just have to keep positive. It's very hard to do that when you're losing so badly. Travis Head's going to bowl. He's off spinners, and hopefully he can get a wicket. He batted well in the second innings, Travis Head. He may be the opener for the next test in indoor. But Raf says, what Australia must do to ensure they don't have a third innings batting collapse again? How should they approach this smartly but with intent as well? That's a thin line. It is. Look, when you're over-aggressive, playing too many shots, you can be a little bit reckless. And I think Australia went a little bit overboard with the positive intent in this test match. It's good to be positive, but it's good to be positive in a smart way. Look at how India batted. They picked the gaps. They ran hard between the wickets. They rotated the strike. Australia were looking for boundaries because they wanted to put pressure on the Indian bowlers. So if you can do the basics well and be smart about it, then you will have a pretty good batting performance. But Australia just need to do the basics well. And they need to balance attack with defense and not being too overboard with the aggressive mindset and the positive intent, because otherwise they're just going to get wickets and they're just going to lose and have a batting collapse. And that's what's happened in the first two tests. As India just need 3 runs to win. And pretty much this game is done and dusted, and India will claim a 2-0 series lead. Jihan says, I've seen that third innings batting collapse many times in India when they've been in the game the whole time until that point. Could be a mental block, but they need to solve it. Yeah, it could be. It could be. The power of the mind is a strong thing in cricket. And if you have a good mindset, that's the key to a good performance. If you don't have a good mindset, then unfortunately, your performance is going to suffer. And that's what's happened with Australia. It's a mental block, but it's something that they need to try and work out with the sports psychologist and themselves. And have that conversation with yourself mentally. And say, right, what am I worrying about? Okay, I'm worrying about that bad things will happen. But in reality, they probably won't happen. That's what happened in the first test in Nagpur. That's what happened. They worried about something that didn't really happen. But it did happen because they overthought it. They overthinked it. It's called catastrophizing. We all do it. It's where we worry about something a lot, overthink it, because we expect bad things will happen. And that is the problem. So, I think Australia have done that in this series. I mentioned it in the review that I did for the first test. They just catastrophized everything. And catastrophizing is, as I mentioned, it's just overblowing things out of proportion, overthinking. We all do that as humans. We all have those moments where we think about something, we overthink it. We think about the bad outcome that's going to happen. But in reality, when it eventually happens, the worries that we had didn't really happen. So people who suffer anxiety, which is a mental illness, of course, and obviously seek help if you're struggling out there. There's plenty of people who can talk to you. Struggle through this on a day-to-day basis. It's just about trying to get rid of those thoughts and try to improve the mindset. So Australia are just struggling with that. Thank you, Stephen. I hope you enjoyed it, mate. Thank you. If you haven't heard, everyone, this is our last live stream ever on the podcast. I'm not going to be doing any more after this. I've decided not to do it any further. So thank you, Stephen, for joining. Thanks for your comments as always. And hope you have a good day. And well, I'll try and enjoy the rest of the series. For Australia, it's a bit of one-way traffic. But oh well, that's just the way it goes. But thank you, Stephen, for dropping in. And thanks for your comments. And thanks to everyone for your comments as well. So keep them coming. The game's nearly done. And India just need one run to win. Scores are level. Don't think it will be a tied test, John. Not like 1986. No. So anyway. Hello, Raj. Hope you're well. Yes, the game is nearly finished. Jihan says they need a second quick, though. 3 spinners is a bit excessive if Cameron Green isn't playing. Yeah, it is. And probably with Australia, they hope that he's fit for the next test because he does provide that balance to the side. John says, yes, hope springs internal. I can remember cheering when AB used to get us past the follow-on. Well, he's a very good player, Alan Border. A very good documentary on him as well. I would suggest to people watching, go over and watch that documentary about Alan Border. The 3-part series was very good. Stephen, you say they should have just batted instead of trying to make a statement. The game got into their heads. Yes, the mindset again. As India hit the winning runs with a boundary. That's a fitting way to wrap up this match. Handshakes all round. India are won by 6 wickets. Pujara hits the winning runs at his 100th test. India win by 6 wickets. They lead 2-0 in the series. They can't lose the series. And they will retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, barring any other results. But you would think, pretty much 2-0 out of 4. They've pretty much got the series in the bag. If they win one more test, they win the series outright. If India win the next test, if Australia win the next test and the next test, then the series will be drawn. So that will be Australia's goal, to try and draw this series. It's going to be a tough challenge, though, but they've got to bounce back. It's been tough, but we've seen some improvement and some signs of improvement. Anyway, that is that. We'll get through the comments. Gaurav, hello, Gaurav. Thanks for joining us. You say, I've played a bit of domestic cricket in India and have been watching cricket for now almost 30 years. Wow, that's wonderful, Gaurav. Wonderful that you've watched this glorious game for 30-odd years. Yes, say more than the technical. The Aussies need to be mentally strong. Absolutely correct there, Gaurav. The mental side of the game doesn't get talked about that often. And it comes down to the mindset. And quite surprised that people didn't really talk about that, actually. And thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for your kind words there. Thank you so much. It's been great to see you in the watch-alongs and live streams, and we hope to see each other again. Hopefully, in the comments of the episodes that we post out on the podcast, if you watch them and listen to them. But thank you, Gaurav, for your comments today. Barav says good night. Good night, Barav, or good evening still over there in India, or good afternoon. You say, cheers, listening to your commentary. Thank you, Bharat. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words, as always. And thank you. And I hope you have a good day. And we hope to see you again on the podcast. Raj says, hitting the winning runs in the 100 tests for Pujara. That was special. It was. It overtakes the heartbreak of the duck in the first innings. Yes, it does. John says, done and dusted. Yes, it has been, John. Fitting in. Congratulations, India. Absolutely. They played well. They've been the better side. Raj says 2 tests around about done in 5 days. Yes, that is the case. As the old saying goes, often a quick game's a good game. So anyway, that's what's happened. India have won by 6 wickets. The match is over. Australia lose for the second time in this series. And there's going to be a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching for the Australians to do. But for India, they're making a good case for the WTC final, and they have more than done enough to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Thank you, Gian. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate you coming on as well. And also, thanks for the kind words, Gian. It has been fun. It's been entertaining. We've had some good moments. We've had some bad times. But I'm pretty sure we've had some more good than bad. But thank you, Jihan. Also, Jihan, I know you were looking forward to the historical series that we've done. So if you haven't checked them out yet, Jihan, please do. I want to hear your thoughts on that because I know you were looking forward to those historical series episodes that I was doing on Australia's Test wins in India. So let me know what you think of those, Jihan. I know you were looking forward to them. So thank you for the kind words, Jihan. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And I wish you all the best as well. And hope you have a good day. It hasn't been a good day with the cricket, but anyway, that's the way it goes. But thank you, Jihan, for the kind words. Raj says, both the remaining tests are in red soil at indoor and Arbabad. Those are going to be even if Australia get on with 3 spinners. Yep, could be. Be interesting. Thank you, Jihan. No worries. I know you were really looking forward to them. So, it was pretty fun making them, actually. The first 2 episodes, actually. So it's very good looking back at the history of the game, especially with Australia and India. It's been a complex sort of relationship and history. But it's been good looking back at those wins in India for Australia. So thanks, Jihan. I would like to know what you think of those. But thank you, Jihan, for all the support and your comments and questions. Being happy answering them for you on these live streams that we've done. Raj says, thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll be eagling waiting for the next few videos. Yes, see, Raj, part 3 and 4 done yet? No, they're not, Raj. I haven't done them yet. I haven't started on them. It's a long process to make the episodes for the historical series because, especially for the first 2, because I included the tour of Pakistan in those 2 in 56, 59, because it sort of tells a story of how Australia played in Pakistan than India. So usually when Australia toured back then to India, they played in Pakistan for a test or 2. So it takes a little bit longer, but the next 2 are going to a little bit longer, but they're definitely going to come out soon. So I'll get to work on the 1969 series, which is an interesting series. It's been an interesting process researching all those games. Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hope you have a great day. I'm sure we'll be seeing you in the comments in the videos, of course, but thanks for all the questions and the comments that you've provided. Also, Raj as well, thank you. We'll definitely come across in the comments, I think, Raj, some of the videos, but thank you, everyone, for the kind words. Thanks, everyone, for the kind words, and yeah, thanks, everyone. It's done. The match is done, and India have won by 6 wickets. They lead the series 2-0. But thank you, everyone, for watching the live streams and watch-alongs. Thank you for respecting the decision I've made to stop the watch-alongs and streams going forward. But I really appreciate everyone supporting the channel and the podcast. It really means a lot to hear everyone say nice, positive, encouraging words with the podcast. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great journey. But now it's time to move on and do something else with the podcast going forward. But I've really appreciate these live streams, interacting with all of you, answering the questions, just having fun, talking cricket. That's why we're here. We're here to have fun and talk cricket. So thank you very much, everyone. And we'll sign out here, and we'll just explain what's going to happen with the podcast for the next few days. As Raj says, well, big issue was our team was really divided equally into India and Pakistan in its time, as it was just 7 years after our independence. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, bye. Take care. Thank you, Raj, and see you later. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And for the final time, I will say this for a live stream watch-along. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The podcast is available on Anchor, Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. Also, a reminder of the episodes that are to come. we will be releasing the second test review of this second test in Delhi between India and Australia. We may not be streaming the test matches or doing any live streams anymore, but we're still going to be covering the series and the test series. That's for sure. We're not going to stop that. Also, in the next few days, I'll be releasing a special guest interview that we had. I had the chance of interviewing yesterday our guest, who is a wonderful person and a very colourful character, who umpired cricket in both England and league crickets and also in Premier Cricket in Victoria and Australia. He wrote a book about his experiences as an umpire in both countries. It's a wonderful book. It's called Stumped, a cricket memoir. It's available on all good bookshops and audiobook sites. Go have a listen to it. Then you'll find out who we had a chat to. He's also an author and he's written other books as well. That episode will be coming out in due course, and that will be coming out in the next few days or week. I think that's it. I think I've said what I needed to say. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for these live stream watch-alongs. It's been great fun. I've enjoyed them immensely. Thank you, everyone, for respecting the decision I've made. We're still going to have fun on the podcast, and we're not going to go anytime, anywhere soon. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great day, very good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be around the world listening. Congratulations to India, winning by 6 wickets, and they lead the series 2-0 with 2 to play. They've retained the Border Gavaskar trophy. They can't lose the trophy. Australia will be hoping to try and draw this test series and finish their tour of India on a positive note. For India, they'll be hoping to have a 4-0 series win. We shall see what happens over the next 2 test matches of this series. But thank you, everyone, for joining us. And for the final time, keep safe and bye for now.